gave it to them in game one with a goal at the 16-second mark, and he was chosen player of the game. Helmut Balderas is the flashiest of the Soviets, but his flashes were infrequent on Thursday night. And the big reason was the checking of Bob Gainey, who added the winning goal to his usual superb defensive game. The NHL has no one to check this man. For Viktor Dombrovsky of the Soviet Union is today's referee, and many feel he is the biggest difference from Game 1 to Game 2. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dave Hodge, and I'm your host for the second game in this Challenge Cup series. Here are the conversation points this afternoon. Two additional players to the NHL lineup, both defensemen Denis Potvin and Guy Lapointe, to provide depth for the group that has been known as the Fabulous Four since Thursday. Robinson, Salming, Beck, and Savard playing a great game. The NHL got the quick start. The goal by Lafleur at the 16-second mark, followed 6 minutes later by the power play goal by Mike Bossy. It was important for the NHL to get a boost, and the NHL has seemed able to do that over the years since 1972. The Soviets were sullen and very morose after their loss on Thursday night. They promised to be back, and the NHL feels they will be. If there was not a hockey game today, we could well hold a television convention. Again, 300 million people will watch worldwide. We're going to the Soviet Union, to the U.S. via CBS, to Europe, to Japan. It's indeed a television spectacular.
CBS, Ron. We're okay. CBS.
55 seconds.
Stand by, French. All right, cameras 2 on the wide shot, please.
Minutes are on 6. 6, okay?
Fire 6, please.
Hi.
45 seconds.
Stand by international speed.
用意してください。
Stand by to Q date. Okay, thank you. Stand by CBS.
20 seconds.
Stand by.
Мы понимаем, что звезда из НХЛ готовы для нашей команды. Мы бы хотели, а вы не сразу знали, что мы готовы.
Roll tape.
9, 8, 7, 6,
Stand by, David.
5, 4, 3,
2,
1.
Take 10.
Today, Game 2 of the Challenge Cup, live from Madison Square Garden in New York, is brought to you by your Pontiac Buick. Today, Game 2 of the Challenge Cup, live from Madison Square Garden in New York, is brought to you by your Pontiac Buick GMC truck dealers, and by your Chevrolet Oldsmobile and Chevrolet truck dealers across Canada, and by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786. Again, a distinct pleasure for me to introduce visually our broadcast crew for today's second game. Calling the play-by-play for the entire contest will be Danny Gallivan. Danny will be joined in the broadcast booth by commentators who provide color and expertise of the very best, Dick Irvin and Bobby Orr. And with me in the intermission, stepping in now to provide highlights and to talk prior to this game, is Howie Meeker. There's another factor we haven't talked about. Right behind us, they are flooding the ice for a second time, and that is because a track meet was held here at the Garden last night. The ice was taken out and was put back in overnight. It is not in the best of shape. It is not what you'd call good ice at the best of times here. Now, is this a factor in the game, and if so, how might it affect the players?
Well, certainly it has to be a factor. It's going to take away some of the speed of the players on both teams. It's going to make puck handling and passing in particular extremely hard to complete. I think you're going to have more bodily contact than you've had before. That should work to the Canadians' favor, but then you go to the refereeing. Is he going to let them get away with excessive bodily contact?
You are talking about referee Victor Dombrowski, and he is on everybody's mind. The game that you saw on Thursday night, how much different do you think this one might be, forgetting the fact that there might be some difference in the officiating?
Well, if Team NHL are going to win, and hey, we're going to, certainly we have to take the play to them as quickly as possible, put it in their end, and score on the Soviets' mistakes. The Soviets have to say, hey, we can't let Team NHL come out of their own end as easy as we have. We can't play the whole game in our end because obviously it's too great a load on our defensemen, and some of the pucks are going to get by Tretiak. I think you're going to see the Soviets become much more physical. I think you're going to see them shoot it in, and I also think you're going to see them make a concentrated effort to control the corners. If they don't, they're dead.
Thank you, Howie Meeker. We'll be hearing more from Howie in the intermissions this afternoon. And right now, let's take you to Dick Irvin and Bobby Orr for their pregame comments.
Well, Dave, when Bobby was playing, he used to like to get to the arena early and get ready. But, Bobby, I think you were even surprised today when you walked in here about 2.5 hours ago and saw Guy Lafleur.
Well, at 20-12 today, Dick, a lot of the players are in the dressing room, so I think they're ready. But Guy Lafleur skates on. He's ready to go at 20-12. And I really think that if Guy Lafleur goes, then this team is going to win. And he's got to be the best hockey player in the world. And he was ready to play at 20-12. So I've got to say the team is ready.
I mentioned you used to get ready early. Did you ever have your skates on that early?
No, I used to go in the dressing room early, but I wouldn't have my skates or any part of my equipment on that early.
Bobby, Howie mentioned about some of the things that might and might not happen. Let's talk about the attitude. Everybody was high, very high Thursday night. What about the Team NHL?
I think they're just as high for this afternoon's game, Dick. They do not want to go into the game tomorrow, the final game of the series. If you run into a hot goaltender, a bounce of a puck, and you could end up losing it. They do not want to go into tomorrow's game, but that game being the deciding game. They want to win it today.
All right, the 4 defensemen who Scotty used the other night played super hockey. He has added 2 more defensemen. The 2 Swedes, Nilsson and Hedberg, will not play. What about that move?
Well, the 4 defensemen that played the other night played very, very well. How Scotty will use Lapointe and Potvin, I don't know. I would guess Potvin will see a lot of ice time on the power play. Lapointe hasn't skated that much the last 2 or 3 weeks, so I don't know how much Scotty will use him. But 2 pretty good hockey players to have in your lineup.
What about Denny Potvin on a power play with a shoulder that may just be a little bit, giving him a little bit of a problem? How much could you use him, or what will Potvin decide himself?
Well, in a game like this, such a big game, that shoulder's not going to be hurting Dennis. I watched him shooting and warm up, and he's shooting very, very well. But, he's excited. I don't think the shoulder will bother him too much today.
The defensive play of Team NHL, you win it in the trenches. You mentioned that the other night, Bob, toward the end of the game. Bob Gainey put on a super game. I would assume, in your opinion, they're going to have to do exactly the same thing.
They've got to play exactly the same, but they know what the Soviets can do. They know they can put the puck in the net, and if they do not play the way they played the other night, they could end up losing this game. But Gainey did a heck of a job on Balderas. He had him tied up all night. But we've got to be careful. We've got to take the body, but we can't get foolish and start running at them and getting penalties. We're not going to run them out of the building. We can physically take them out of the play, but there's no way we're going to run them out of the building. We must take their bodies. And Gainey, if he can do another job like he did the other night on Balderas, it'll be a big help.
You mentioned, Howie and Dave mentioned about the ice. You had a good idea. We were here earlier today. They were just putting the ice down, flooding it again, but you said they should have done something they didn't do.
Well, the 3:30 this morning, they started putting the ice in, and it's too bad that they didn't get a group of kids or hockey players to skate on it all morning long and flood and so on, because it will be a little trippy, and hopefully the players won't get hurt, but there's going to be some bad bounces, and the ice is not that good.
Bobby, there's a lot of talk about the referee, Dombrowski. It's amazing to me how much talk there has been about what influence he might have on the outcome of this hockey game. I would have to think that Team NHL just got to put him right out of their mind to start.
Definitely. If he should make a bad call, they just get to the penalty box, kill the penalty off, and get back to the plane. But in 1972, I can remember him. He did not do a very good job, and it's a concern of everyone's. If he should call a lot of penalties that should not be called, then we could be in trouble, because the Soviets have a great power play.
Larmoff will not play today. Larry Robinson hit him a real good shot right toward the end of the game on Thursday night. But Bobby, really, he hasn't played that well in recent games against Team NHL or Canada as he did in 72.
He has not, and Larry gave him a pretty good check, and he's got a bad Charlie horse, but he's a fantastic hockey player. Team NHL just did not let them do anything the other night. They just checked the heck out of them, and that's the same thing as they have to do today.
What about the familiarity? Obviously paid off, and I would have to think Scotty's going to go again. The Islanders line, Shutt and Lafleur together, because in a short space of time like this, that's obviously what he has to do.
Well, I think the big thing is the timing. Here's in February, it's partway through our season. The players are in shape. They're thinking properly. They're starting for the last half of our season, and they're building up to the playoffs. So they're ready. There's just so much talent out there, and the game the other night I thought was a perfect game.
Well, I tell you, the atmosphere is just tremendous. You really can't believe it unless you're here. Let's get back downstairs again now. Here's Dave Hodge.
Thank you, gentlemen. Hopefully, the best team on this ice today will win regardless of the officiating, and it is usually that way. Perhaps our greatest wish will be that the ice is good and that the ice will not affect adversely the play of these two great teams. That is the reason for the delay, as there is an extra flood on the ice. The ice put in overnight after the track meet last night at Madison Square Garden, and we're just about ready. We know the players are. We hope the ice is, and we're going to join now for opening ceremonies, Carl Martin.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Madison Square Garden. Today, the National Hockey League and the National Hockey League Players Association present the NHL Challenge Cup, the second game of the hockey series of the century, a confrontation between hockey's two greatest powers, the All-Stars of the National Hockey League and the national team of the USSR. Ladies and gentlemen, the NHL Challenge Cup. Now let us welcome these two great competing teams, the national team of the USSR and the NHL All-Stars. For the Soviets, wearing number 21, Viktor Tumenev. Wearing number 16, Vladimir Petrov. And the captain for the USSR, wearing number 13, Boris Mikhailov. Here is the starting lineup for the NHL All-Stars as selected by hockey fans across North America. In goal, wearing number 29 from the Montreal Canadiens, Ken Dryden. The defenseman, wearing number 19 from the Montreal Canadiens, Larry Robinson. From the Toronto Maple Leafs, wearing number 26, Boyes Downing. Playing at left wing, representing the Montreal Canadiens, number 22, Steve Shutt. Here is the captain of the NHL All-Stars, Philadelphia 76, players and 3 outstanding personalities who will sing the national anthems for us today. To offer the national anthem of the Soviet Union, here once again is Georgian Gietlein. For the Canadian national anthem, once again, Roger Doucet. And for the first time in this series, singing the anthem of the United States of America, Gloria Loring. And now we ask you to rise for the singing of the national anthems. Ladies and gentlemen, Georgian Gietlein, Roger Doucet, and Gloria Loring. Would the 2 starting centers skate to center ice? Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the ceremonial face-off, here is a man who set more than 20 different club records, including most goals, most assists, and most points, while playing more than 1,000 games for the New York Rangers. Let's welcome Rod Gilbert. And now, in the tradition of international hockey, the players will exchange greetings on this historic occasion.
Well, everybody is in fine voice, including the fans and us, we hope. There may be a few lumps in the throats of the players, but we're just about ready for game number 2. This is the Challenge Cup, live from New York's Madison Square Garden.
I'm Gila, sir. This is my family, and Chevrolet is my family car. Chevrolet Caprice. I take chances on the ice, but not with my family, and that's why I like Chevrolet. The 79 Chevy has 2 years of proven performance behind it, with so much room, comfort, and style. It's a winner. Nice play, Chevrolet.
Well, you commit your time and talent to her and share the pain of her self-doubts and frustrations that are part of training. And if she's got the talent and the will to win, everything falls into place.
Lotto Canada is helping Canada's young athletes get better and better at their game. Lotto Canada, a Canadian institution dedicated to the development of fitness and amateur sport in Canada.
What's it take to brew a great light beer?
You gotta have heart, mother heart. If you're gonna brew a beer with great taste, there's only one place to start. Mother Light has got heart, miles of heart. Mother Light has got heart.
And so the stage is set here in New York City for Game 2 of this much-discussed and pressure-packed Challenge Cup between the NHL All-Stars and the national team of the Soviet Union. A new referee and 2 new linesmen working the game this afternoon. Let's meet the officials now.
Mate Pavlich, Sudya na linija. Matt Pavlich, linesman for today's game.
Виктор Домбровский, главный судья.
My name is Ron Finn. I'm one of the linesmen for today's game.
There we have Tretiak, Vladislav Tretiak, in the nets again. 24 shots the other night. 4 of them went in. And as Howie pointed out in our Thursday telecast, he had a bit of a shaky start. But Tretiak is in goal for the Soviet Union. And at the other end is Ken Dryden, who removed a lot of doubts in some people's minds as to his performance against Soviet opposition. The other night he was fine, made some key stops, especially in the second period. Dryden gets the call again this afternoon from Coach Scotty Bowman. So we are just about set Danny, the referee is calling the players to center ice, so take over. Danny Gallivan.
Okay, Dick. And good afternoon, everybody, from a sunny but frigid New York City. The second game is underway, and it's ripped in on that right side by Vasiliev. Solving in the corner. Mikhailov trying to get it. They bump along the boards. Tumanev, 21, is a new player for the Soviets, taking over from Harlamov. They keep it in. Tumanev is then bumped by Robinson. The All-Stars trying to get it out, and they roll it into the center ice area. Starikov to Vasiliev to Starikov on the left side. He's having difficulty against Clark to Lafleur. Lafleur trying to control it. It's along the board. In behind the net. Shove is knocked to the ice by Starikov. Back to the fence to Solving. The rebound, and Clark missed it. There's Lafleur into the corner. Tumanev in behind the net for the Soviets. He gives it off to Vasiliev, who pumps that pass off Mikhailov. Here's Lafleur working in on the left side, and he was bodied by Mikhailov. Good action to start the second game.
Well, there's Scotty Bowman, who, as we mentioned during our talk a minute ago, has made some changes. He has two defensemen, Denny Potvin and Guy Lapointe, in the lineup. The two Swedish players with the New York Rangers, Ulf Nilsson and Anders Hedberg, are out of the lineup. Now we have some kind of a delay on the ice. The players from both teams, Bobby, I don't know what's happening here. Players from both teams have gone to the bench. Is there, did the ice, did the glass, break somewhere? I don't know what. This is a strange one. The officials are the only ones who are out there.
They aren't checking the ice, Dick. It looks like the Soviets are refusing to come on the ice for some reason.
Well, this is a very strange turn right here. The whistle went. The players from both teams went to their respective benches, and now here they come. Well, it could be long range. It's tough to figure out.
Dick, what I think it is, the Soviet coach is trying to match lines. So he was waiting for Scotty to make the first move.
I think, is there a home game situation here? Is this a Soviet home game?
I think this is the Soviet home game.
Right.
Home game.
Yes.
So they get the last change. All right. Well, we'll get that sorted out. Little international juggling of lines as we look at Tikhonov, the coach of the Soviet Union. Now here we get Aggie Kuklowitz, who might be involved a bit here today with Dombrowski, acting as the interpreter as we sort this one out. Just to recap the lineup changes for the Soviets, Valery Harlamov is injured. We'll take a listen here. Already. Harlamov injured and not playing is a Charlie Horse. Gennady Tsagenkov, a veteran defenseman, out of the Soviet lineup. Viktor Tumanev, who was on the ice as a starter, number 21, is playing in place of Harlamov, and Sergei Babinov, number 4, is in on defense. He did not play Thursday.
Dick, when I heard there was going to be a Soviet lineup change, I was praying that it would have been Vedya Letina, but he is in there, and we have to contend with him, Bobby.
Well, this carries on here. If it is a Soviet home game, then they have the right to change after the NHL team changes.
Dick, I'm not sure it was even discussed whose home game it was, today or Thursday night. And I think the Soviets are saying, well, it was NHL Stars home game. Thursday, it's ours tonight.
Well, that's the story. We've now been advised from those a lot closer to the scene than we are that indeed the Soviets are claiming this is their home game. They get the final change. So that's why, Bobby, you read it properly, and he hung on and waited for the line change to take place. There's Jerry Cheevers, who is in uniform today as the backup goaltender to Dryden. Tony Esposito served as the backup on Thursday. Now we have the
Okay. Both starting teams want to start the game. Is that what he's saying? Okay. Okay, that's fine. Now, as long as we understand, last game to the Soviets. They're the whole team today. Okay.
Eagleson, very much involved. You heard him say, okay. Maybe his word's the last one.
I think it's the Soviet home game today, and tomorrow it will be our home game. I think that's what they decided on.
Oh, dear. Almost shades of Philadelphia. Bill Torrey says the home team situation was never discussed. Bill, the chief general manager for Team NHL. I guess somebody slipped up somewhere along the way, and what has been a very busy time for all concerned. So the Eagle heads back to his seat, which is almost front and center. Danny, you're still in your seat, front and center in the broadcast booth. Away you go.
Well, that disruption will be remembered as the one that came at 58 seconds in 1979 at Madison Square Garden. So we are ready for the face-off in fairly deep Soviet territory, and it goes to Vasiliev off Clark's stick into the center ice area. Mikhailov cutting it on the right side. Getting back with great speed was Gainey. There is Savad on the right side, lugging it out over the line, and what a hockey game he played for the NHL team on Thursday night. Toblake said it was the best hockey game Savard had played, in his opinion, in 10 years. McDonald behind the net. He lost it momentarily. It comes along the boards to Sittler. Back to McDonald. Carroll coming up on the right side. There's Pervukin going in there to cover up for the Soviets. It goes to the other side. Into the corner. Petrov. Kapustin is now on the ice for the Soviets. They're beginning to lay the body on a bit in the corner. In behind the net, Vasiliev up on the left side. Back to Vasiliev. Into the center ice area. He's over the line. A high drifting shot off the glass. On the left side in the all-star zone, a pass finds its way down the ice. And back for the Soviets go. And the All-Stars are making changes while the play goes on. Goalie Cobb was hit. Now coming in is Gillies around the net, and he lost it. Teams are changing while the play goes on. Alexander, goalie Cobb's pass taken finally by Protsier. It's up on the line to Robinson. The big bird coming up to Gillies. A shot nowhere near the net. Goalie Cobb, Alexander couldn't get it. Protsier said, we're doing it front. And a shot by Bossy low and wide. Now Alexander, goalie Cobb missed the pass. On the left side of Robinson, he drilled it into the corner. Pervukin going in there for the Soviets, back to the point. Makarov swings the pass to center, and is gobbled up and cleared back in by Salving. Into the corner for Pervukin, and that was called on the icing.
The other night in Game 1, certainly a big moment for young Barry Beck of the Colorado Rockies, and we talked to him about Thursday night's game prior to this one.
It was just very fortunate just to be playing, first of all, and I just wanted to make sure that if I did get a chance to play my position very well and not get caught out of position. It's very easy for me to play with Serge Savard, because I know if I ever get in trouble with the puck, I can just throw it over to Serge and he'll get the job done. So I was just out there and I was playing with a lot of confidence, and I think that helped me very much. And Scotty Bowman expressed a lot of confidence in my game before the game, so I had a feeling that I could do the job, and I just needed a chance to play.
Well, do the job he did. Danny, face off in the NHL zone.
Soviets, everybody up for the face-off. Vernikov, Colvin, Skvortsov. The line for the Soviets. Gainey lugged it into the center ice area. He had difficulty against Babinov. Now he and Colvin got mixed up on the line. Over on the other side. Fedorov knocked it out off a stick down on the right side. Back in, Robinson giving it off, and it's Salving getting it out over the line. No score here in the opening period. Fired in over the line. Fedorov knocked it to the corner. Salving is back there. He winds it up on the left side. Shot is belted on the line. Lafleur couldn't pick it up. Back in there. The late offside whistle is called off. It was lugged to center and cleared in by Salving. Into the corner. It's played up on the right side by Babinov. Skvortsov couldn't get it. Here's Lafleur. There's a shot by Dion. It was on, but handled by Tretiak. Salving pumped it back in there. There's a shot. It hit a leg. It went off shut stick. Salving has it back at the All-Stars line. Feeds it ahead for Dion. This could be icing against the NHL All-Stars.
And now let's go down to our studios, join Dave Hodge.
Al Eagleson, tell me what happened.
nothing drastic. What happened, the Soviet home game, but on Scotty Bowman's list and sheet that the league handed him, it said that Canada was the home game, so Scotty decided he'd use the advantage of the home lineup that he had and use it. Dombrowski's confusion was that he insisted that the starting lineups had to start the game. What he was confused with was our all-star choices and the starting lineup. So it got cleared up very quickly. I'm happy it was. It was a lot less of a problem than I thought.
We don't need another delay. Let's get back to the game.
From the face-off in the all-star zone. Garikov playing it ahead. Soviets have Shluptov, Kapustin, and Balderas. It's cliché to say and very obvious to everybody that in a three-game series, the second game has to be pivotal. We mention it because it's this fact that's obvious, that if the All-Stars win today, they win the series. A Soviet victory or a tie will set up the situation for an all-out series decider tomorrow in the third game. Vasiliev over to Balderas, who was tied up and stymied in that first game, largely through the checking of Gainey. Now it's kept in. Shluptov passed it back. Balderas trying to get in position. Kapustin couldn't pick it up. There's Balderas. Back to Kapustin. There's the shot. It was wide. Soviets have some pressure here. Kapustin trying to center it. It went off Peral's stick. Garikov clearing it back in there. Now it's out over the line, down into Soviet territory. Back there is Starikov. Starikov handing it off to Vasiliev. He picks his way out on the left side. Pass goes on the right wing. Mikhailov is on. He centered it right in front. And Savard was there to clear it. Soviets have made changes while the play goes on. Tumanev is on. Mikhailov. Now the All-Stars making changes. At the Soviet line, ahead to Mikhailov on the right side. He's over the line. There's the shot. And it was called on the offside.
Live from New York, this is the Challenge Cup.
The big news for 79 is from Chevrolet. The new Chevy Monza 2+2 hatchback. More standard Monza features than ever add up to more car, more kicks. Standard equipment includes tinted glass, AM radio, shift console, sports steering wheel, white striped tires, body side moldings, bucket seats, carpeting, hatchback, and more. All standard for only $4,571. When you want to put your car dollars to work for you, put your money on Monza from Chevrolet.
Face-off outside the All-Stars blue line. 14 minutes and 27 seconds left in the opening period. There is no score in the game. Just the one shot on goal by the All-Stars. Mikhailov jamming in on the boards. The face-off will be in All-Stars territory.
Bobby, there's Denny Potvin, his first appearance.
And Guy Lapointe also, Dick.
That's right.
We're out there together, and two pretty good hockey players.
Scotty's obviously going to go with the sixth defenseman. I know he likes to do that with the Canadians as often as he can when he has six who are healthy, and especially when you are playing back-to-back games.
That's right. It's easier on the players, and I've seen Scotty do that many, many times.
Soviets with the defense playing up. Bilyaletdinov is out on defense. Now they back into the center ice area. Stars coming up. There's Perot. Takes a look. The pass went off the leg. Pervukin is the other defenseman for the Soviets. Now the Soviets in the center ice area. Mikhailov to Tumanev. Tumanev takes his time. He's back deep in his own zone. To the other side to Pervukin. Now into the corner. Pervukin watched by McDonald. Mikhailov has it on the left wing at center. Tumanev is coming up. Watch him, and the pass went off his stick along the board. Perov decides to lug it out himself, twisting and turning into the center ice area to the Soviet line. Great work to Sickler, and he fired a booming blast off the glove of Tretiak over the glass.
And again this afternoon, Darryl Sittler playing on left wing alongside Farrell and Lanny McDonald. Just to recap the NHL scratches, not in uniform, from the roster, Ron Greshner, Robert Picard, Don Marcotte, Anders Hedberg, Ulf Nielsen, goaltender Tony Esposito.
Lining up for the face-off. We have Salming and Robinson playing up. Schutt rifles a shot shot wide by 3 or 4 feet. And, of course, the ruling in this series is that at the slightest provocation, the goalie can hold the puck and there's no penalty. From the face-off, Schutt couldn't get the good wood on it. Now Dion is shot. He tried to pass it back, and the Soviets taking over. They headman the puck. Going down at the line is Salve. He stopped his man. Here's Lafleur. The pass went off the stick. Babinov finally got it out to Vladimir Golikov. He cleared it in. Into the corner on the boards. They fight for possession. They jostle there again. Makarov is getting set for the shot. And a hard shot and the rebound hit the side of the net. Now Makarov again. And he rattled that one off the leg. Back into the center ice area. Dion over to shot. He stumbled against Babinov. Babinov firing it out on the right side. Golikov rolled it ahead. Here's Lafleur picking it up. He watches his check. He lost it. Lafleur again goes after it. Fedorov turning at the Soviet line. Ahead it goes to Makarov. Makarov over on the far left side. Babinov to Kapustin. He dropped it back to the line. Now Fedorov coming up on the right side. He cleared it in. And Gillies belted Fedorov. Vautier couldn't pick it up. It's kept in. There's a shot. Dryden. Starikov right over to Kapustin. They score! Kapustin! I think it'll be he.
Now a happy Soviet bench as they take the 1-0 lead. The big rebound came off Dryden, but it went right back to the Soviet player. But Bobby on the line change, Team NHL never did get possession of the puck.
Starikov makes a great play here. The rebound was right back to him on the point. It's just a great play. Kenny got a piece of it, but trickled by him.
So take a look at it from a low-level angle right here, and off to the right side. The puck is fired, as Bobby mentioned. Dryden got a piece of it. It's 1-0 the Soviets.
Now back over on the other side to Savard. His pass hit the referee. Here's the announcement on the goal. Gillies centering it in front. Bossy couldn't get control. Back it comes. And a shot just wide by Gillies. There's Beck firing it around the net. Savard at the point, keeping it in. It's kicked to the line by Vasiliev, who lost his stick in over the line. Dvorsov took the shot off the leg. It's finally back into Soviet territory. Vasiliev to the other side. The Starikov back into the center ice area. Dvorsov dropping it back. Varnakov jammed out of the play. Dvorsov to Starikov over the other side to Vasiliev. There's a shot. A low sizzling drive wide. Barber is bumped on the board. But the Soviet player Kova got the worst of it. Here's Gady going in. And a brilliant save by Tretiak. Soviets starting out. They pump it through the center ice area. Big Petrov going down and bumping with Savard. And a call for icing.
This game between the NHL All-Stars and the Soviet national team is coming to you from New York.
A lot goes on a VIA train before you get on. Our VIA people are on board early, getting ready for you. Ready to offer a personal touch.
Lamb chowder smells very good today.
In fact, when it comes to traveling in Canada, there's probably no other service like it.
Company's coming.
Come aboard. There's a VIA train ready for you. Be good to yourself. Take the train.
Well, there's the goal scorer, Sergei Kapustin, who's done very well in competition against National Hockey League opposition. He's given the Soviets a 1-0 lead here today.
Petrov against Sittler on the draw, along the boards. It's cleared out to the line. Tumanev at the line, a pass to the right side. Shoved ahead by Mikhailov, and McDonald scampers to the far side. Soviets kept it in, and then it's bounced down the ice. Vilyaletdinov is back there, and it is icing again against the All-Stars of the National League.
Bobby, the Soviets here today are doing what impressed a lot of people the other night. They never stop skating. There is constant motion.
They're going all the time, Dick, and you may think you're beside a guy, you look and he's there, and then as soon as you turn away from him, he moves away from you. So you've always got to watch your man, especially in your end, because they never, ever stop moving.
1-0 Soviet Union, leading in this hockey game. Now there's Carroll, a skating dandy. This time he elects to hand it off to Robinson to the other side to Salving off the board. And again, it'll be icing called against the All-Stars. Dick, I want to ask Bobby a question if we have time here. I noticed in the game on Thursday night that the National Hockey League players got away from dumping the puck from center ice, and against European competition, they seem to lug it in. And I like that aspect. Why does that happen?
Well, I think it's, I don't know why it happens, Danny, but right now against the Soviets, they're doing, I think, what we should be doing. They're throwing it in, and they practice this all-day practice just to threw it in and went in after it. And they're also keeping their defensemen in deep. The puck come out that left side, and Starikov stayed in. Usually they'd be backing off, but they're keeping their defensemen in, and they practiced that the whole practice yesterday.
Face off to the right of Dryden. The shot's on goal. USSR 3, NHL 2. 1-0 for the Soviets. Barber went down. Makarov clearing it into the corner. He had an excellent scoring opportunity. Number 24, Makarov, did the last time he was out there. Point-blank range shot, and Dryden got in front of it. Now it is Robinson forechecking the goalie cop, and Makarov for the Soviets. They keep it in. Now Salving on the board. Vladimir goalie cop passed it to the slot. Gainey got rid of it, and the Soviets certainly dominating at this particular stage in the hockey game. Now Barber into the center ice area. He cleared it in, and Scotty Bowman making changes. Now the puck in the Soviet zone. In there goes shot. He centered it, and it's gobbled up by Vladimir Golikov. Ahead to Alexander, his brother, on the right wing at center against the Fleur. Dryden clearing it up on the board. Shot coming out with Dion and LaFleur. Now Dion picks up a loose puck going in on the right side, and he lost it. Makarov coming out. LaFleur in over the line, but stranded there was Dion.
You are watching the series of the century live from Madison Square Garden.
What's it take to brew a great light beer?
You gotta have heart, mother heart. If you're gonna brew a beer with great taste, there's only one place to start. Mother Light has got heart, mother miles of heart. Mother Light has got heart.
Had one yet?
Along with Galvin and Bobby Orr in the broadcast booth here at Madison Square Garden. Team NHL with only 2 shots on goal in the first 11 minutes and 15 seconds of the game. Soviets at 3.
It is Shluptov at center with Kapustin and Balderas for the Soviets. LaFleur, Schutt, and Dion for the All-Stars. Here's LaFleur at the line. Dion was belted by Kapustin after clearing it in. Now from the point, Guy Lapointe. Dion centered it right out in front. And Vasiliev very effectively covered up on it against Schutt. Now Balderas handing it off to Kapustin, back to Balderas. He swings the back pass to Kapustin. He tried to center it from the corner against Potvin. They jostle vigorously. Back it goes. Starikov a shot, and he's wide with it. Vasiliev is the other defenseman playing up. The Soviets got it to the side. Potvin to the other side. Now into the corner. They try to get it back. It comes to the far side. Vasiliev backhands it in there along the board. Down on the ice. Potvin along with Balderas. And this is the 5th time that the NHL All-Stars have been called for icing. What do you read in that?
They are forechecking the heck out of us right now, Danny. They're doing a great job forechecking, and like I said earlier, their entire practice yesterday was spent on forechecking, shooting the puck in, going in after it, keeping their defensemen up, and that's exactly what they're doing so far in the game.
off to the left of Dryden. 1-0 for the Soviets. He goes to the far side. Trottier got away from the check. He didn't get away from it. There's a penalty coming up for cross-checking, and that will go against Colvin.
This is live coverage of game number 2 for the Challenge Cup.
Oldsmobile Cutlass for 1979. It's different cars for different people. Like Cutlass Supreme Room, the nicest of luxury touches. Or Cutlass Salon, lots of front and rear headroom thanks to the distinctive roofline. And Cutlass Cruiser, a sedan ride in a hard-working wagon. Cutlass, solid Olds engineering and that great Cutlass feeling. All available in 79 with a V8 diesel engine. Have one built for you.
Vladimir Kovin, number 9, Soviet Union, and he is off for cross-checking, and there you see the reason why. On the power play, Team NHL with 4 Islanders, the Trottier line, Dennis Potvin plus Guy Lafleur on the right point.
Face off just inside the Soviet line. Dennis Potvin flips it in there. Pervukin sends it down the ice. Let's pick up the Soviet players. The Golikovs are up front. Bilyaletnov is on defense with Pervukin. They're doing the forward checking. That has been their pattern of performance very successfully so far in this hockey game. The Soviets have it. Now the Stars are coming out, led by Potvin. To the right side it goes. Here's Bossy feeding it back in there. There's puck in front. And it's cleared to the line. Not out. Bossy has it knocked off the stick, but it was gloved ahead.
You know, we were told, Bobby, that the Soviets don't have specialists. If it's your turn, you kill a penalty, you play in the power play. I don't know, we can cancel that memo, I think, because these Golikov brothers killed the penalties all night Thursday. They're out there again.
2 fine hockey players. To me, they were the better players for the Soviet Union Thursday night. Up to this point, Danny Dick, they're just skating the heck out of it.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
A minute and a dozen seconds left in the penalty. Now Fleur was checked. Alexander Golikov flipping it. Potvin from behind the net trying to get this Stars power play into effective operation. Old Gillies was hit just outside the line. Now it's center right in front. There's just a score! Bossy! What a play Trottier makes it.
Oh, yeah, down the left side. Brian Trottier. That is 1-1. Mike Bossy, 2 games, 2 goals. Isn't he a sniper? But you're right, Bobby. The big move is Trottier on the left board.
And watch how strong Trottier is on the boards here. Watch this. They couldn't hold him. Makes a great play to Bossy, and Bossy can put the puck in the net. Trottier gets a piece of it. 1-1.
All right, we'll take a look here. As did Ken Dryden on the Soviet goal. Tretiak does get a chance. A piece of it, as Bobby mentioned, but it's off the skate, through his leg. And the power play pays off. Mike Bossy.
Clark Gillies made a great play right at center ice to get the puck ahead to Trottier. It was a fine goal, just a great goal.
Islanders goal all the way up the ice. So it's 1-1.
So the score tied at a goal. Babinov on defense with Fedorov. It was cleared in by the Soviets. Now Dion being watched by Colvin. Back to Colvin. He fired and a remarkable save by Dryden. That was close in. I don't think it hit anybody on the way. Now back. Fedorov at the line, keeping it in. There's that pesky diminutive line for the Soviets. Finally, the Stars get it out. Sittler clearing it ahead, and down it goes on the right side. Vernikov to Babanov. Behind the net into the corner. Fedorov up on the left wing for Vernikov. And it's called on the offside.
So the scoring play again for Team NHL. There's the youngster who got it, Mike Bossy. Trottier and Gillies assisting at 13:35.
Bobby, a tremendous scorer.
Varnikov made a heck of a play to Colvin, and Kenny Dryden. It didn't hit anybody. Kenny made the big save. Here it comes now. But Varnikov here makes a great move, great play to Colvin, and Kenny made a super save.
Vasiliev Played back in by Mikhailov to Vasiliev. He gets it ahead to the line. Shumanev over on the left side. Intercepted by Perro. White shot coming in. There it is, the shot. And that goes into Tretiak, but I think it went off a Soviet player. A dangerous play. Now into the corner. They jostle for possession.
Well, you just saw Kenny Dryden make a big stop. We asked him before the game, do you change your style against Soviet opposition?
No, not really. I think that I don't really know the Soviet team well enough to know whether I should change or not. So while noticing perhaps a few things that they do extremely well and trying to recognize those, essentially I try to play the same way as I would in a regular season game.
Ken Dryden now has a 4-game unbeaten streak against Soviet opposition.
Despite the fact we have a total of 8 shots in just over 5 minutes left in the period, there's been a fair amount of action in this period. There's the third to the other side, bumping with Shumanev. The Stars keeping it in. Vasiliev around the net, lugging it to the right side. One hand on the stick, and he was checked by Perro. And the Stars send it back in there. Starikov, let's see a penalty for hooking, I think, coming up. Dombrowski is coming over to assess the penalty.
The Challenge Cup is coming to you live from New York.
What's it take to brew a great light beer?
In the first intermission, we'll talk to Clark Gillies, left winger on the Islanders line who assisted in the NHL goal. We'll have a film close-up look at Valery Vasiliev, and Howie Meeker will have highlights.
So the penalty call is made against Gilbert Perro of Team NHL. He's off for holding at 15-13. NHL goal coming while they had a power play. First chance now for the Soviet Union.
And on the power play, Valderas, Shluptov, Fedorov, Vasiliev, and Kapushkin. Clark and Gainey up front. Gainey is checking Fedorov. Score tied at a goal. Now the Soviets on the power play in a wave of 5 into the center ice area over the line. Valderas took the pass along the boards. Now it's loose. Here's Gainey breaking out on that left side. He's checked by Fedorov. Gainey carries on partially, stays with it. And a tremendous effort by Bob Gainey.
Bobby, you know, the Soviets are strong. Scotty Bowman talked about it after the first game, but John Ziegler looking out. I think shaking his head, thought there might have been a penalty call there, but Gainey showed tremendous strength down that side.
Well, Fedorov is one of their stronger players, too, and he couldn't keep a hold of Bobby. So Bobby's very, very strong.
Face off outside the Soviets line. A high-rising shot by Salming. Fedorov hands it to Vasiliev ahead on the right side to Valderas. Flipped off back to Valderas and over the line. And it was called on the offside.
This is a very, very important penalty for us to kill off, Dick. The NHL Stars have not played really that great. I think the Soviets have dominated this first period to this point. We're tied 1-1. If we can kill this off and win with a 1-1 tie, it'll be good going into that second period. We should be all right.
Bobby, shots directed at the goal. Preview out on that one. The Soviets have had 12. The NHL 7 shots at goal. Even now, 4 apiece. On that tablet, introduce himself in both languages. The game.
Now Savard, Bailey cleared out, looked off to the corner. He's jammed into the boards by Savard. Vasiliev against Gainey, and it's out over the line. And the time remaining in the penalty now, exactly a minute with 3:42 left in the opening period. The score tied at a goal. Here's Valderas, the great skater, into the slot, getting set. He fired it. The rebound, and it's cleared to the line, not out. Vasiliev fired a screen shot, and luckily, perhaps for the All-Stars, that was wide. Fedorov swinging it back into the corner to Kapushkin. His centering pass blocked by Clark. It's jammed off the corner boards by Salming. The Soviets keeping it in. Into the corner, Kapushkin behind the net it goes. It's a centering pass, and Savard against Skruptov covers up.
There in the penalty box, 25 seconds left to serve. That play by Valderas, Bobby. That's the first sign that he has really, you might say, done anything in the series. He was very ineffective against Gainey checking Thursday night.
He's such a great hockey player. You know, it's just a matter of time before he comes. And he put on a little stick handling there for him. But he's very, very talented. It's just a matter of time. So our penalty killers are doing a fantastic job on this one.
25 seconds left in the penalty. There's the rebound to Golikov, and he almost fired it home. Into the Star zone again. Finally, Robinson whips it down the ice. Makarov, the Golikov, Bilyaletdinov, and the other attacker on the power play is Pervukin for the Soviets. Now Robinson slashes it out. It goes to the right side, and the penalty now has expired. It's rolled into Soviet territory. There's Peril going down against Pervukin in the corner. It's centered from a sharp angle by Sittler. Bilyaletdinov coming down on the left side. Now Robinson. Peril firing it out on the left wing. Here is Sittler. Pass goes to the other side, and Pervukin has it for the Soviets ahead to Vladimir Golikov, over to Alexander. The shot, rebound is left there after drawing lost his balance. Now right in front, Pervukin wraps that one off Nelly Potvin's leg. And again, great pressure by the Soviets with a minute and 55 seconds left in the opening period. And they have been, I would think, the better hockey club in this first period, although the score is tied at a goal. Now they fight for possession in Soviet territory. Gillies fires. They score! Dick, I'm not sure. It may have gone out to Soviet defenseman.
Mark Gillies made a good play. This has been a super line for the NHL, with 3 from the Islanders. Now it'll go to Gillies right here. Okay, I'm sure. Okay, 20.
Just shoot it towards the net.
Hard to tell from that replay.
They got a piece of it.
We get a better look at it here, Bobby, if the camera can follow right through to the goal crease. No, I don't think so. Puck's in the net by the time he gets there. We'll wait for the announcement on it.
However,
it's in the net.
I'll tell you, that's a tough line. Just three great hockey players.
Brian gets the goal. Brian Trottier.
So the Stars 2, the Soviets 1. Soviets coming back. It's centered. Colvin was rammed in on the board by Beck, and they jam in the corner, and I would think that the Stars are rather fortunate to be leading.
Okay, let's take a look here, Bob. We might see the goal was awarded to Trottier. Follow the bouncing puck kind of hard at this distance, but we'll see.
Look at Trottier in front of that. They can't hold on there. Right. He's just so strong. He really surprises, Trottier surprises me with his strength. I didn't think he was so big or so strong, and he's so strong, and he's got a great upper body.
Soviets, everybody up. Dvorak took a shot, hit a leg, and Savard jumped to pass up on the left side. Gainey going after Babinov. To the other side on the boards, they jam in there. They might get a whistle here. Let's see. Yes, they do.
A little bit of play along the board. Fedorov and Bill Barber are told by people a little closer to the scene than we are that the puck, the last object it seemed to hit prior to going into the net was Tretiak's stick. Soviets have outshot the NHL 8-5 at this point.
And Danny, I agree. We are fortunate to be ahead 2-1 right now. The Soviets have played very, very well this first period.
You notice in the first game, again, I'm going to put you on the spot and recall, I thought Tretiak did not help his team as much as he had in the past. He stayed in the goal too much. He didn't get out. Is that right?
Get back to it in a minute?
Okay.
Okay.
On the face-off, it goes to the left side. Karlov kicks and then shoots. And there it is now. Less than a minute to go in the opening period. The NHL All-Stars 2, USSR 1, back into Soviet territory. Shumanev around the net, played it into the corner. There's a pass, but Karlov couldn't knock that down. It was high. Came from Starikov. Robinson against Shumanev. Robinson swings it. The Mikhailov keeps it in. Robinson gets another chance. Now Sittler's pass is blocked. Puck in the center ice area. Petrov fades over to the left side and is forced back in by the forechecking of Sittler. Vasiliev ahead to Mikhailov. He almost broke through there. That's one of their great plays. They love to pull it off. Head-manning that puck through the middle. In the first game, the NHL players cut off that area in the middle. Now here's Gillies going in and it's called on the offside. Okay, but Mr. President.
I'd agree with you, Danny, that if a goaltender doesn't come out of that net when they shoot around, I can remember in '76 playing against the Soviet Union and the Czechs, that was one of our plays to shoot around because we knew that the goaltenders would not come out of the net to cut it off. And we'd be shooting around one way and have our wingers coming in the other way. But when you get a goaltender not doing that for you, it's very, very difficult.
Okay, Bobby, that's the end of the first period. 2-1 for the NHL All-Stars.
Well, they have adjusted the shots. They've done that on us a couple of times in this series, but they make it 7-5 now, and that is official. The goal scorers for the Soviets, they opened the scoring. Kapustin at 8:10, and it was Mike Bossy on a power play at 13:35, and then Brian Trottier at 18:21. And the line of Bossy, Trottier, and Gillies totally in on both goals. So quite an afternoon so far for the New York Islanders recently. Score at the end of the first period. NHL All-Stars 2, the Soviet national team 1. This is Game 2 for the Challenge Cup.
What's it take to brew a great light beer?
Is inner space. The 79 Chevrolet Malibu. It measures up on the inside where dimensions really count. It gives you easy to remove dashboard modules. High pressure compact spare for inner trunk space. V6 engine saves space, saves weight. 79 Chevrolet Malibu. A new star in the age of inner space.
A shot of the United Nations seems entirely fitting as we bring you this International Challenge Cup Hockey Series of the National Hockey League, ahead 2-1 over the Soviet Union at the end of the first period in this, the second game. Kapustin put the Soviets in front, and it was all USSR up to that point and after it. But then the power play goal by Mike Bossy got the NHL started, and Brian Trottier scored to make it 2-1. The Islander line of Bossy, Trottier, and Clark Gillies has now accounted for 4 of the NHL's 6 goals in this series. And with me is the captain of the Islanders, one of that trio, Clark Gillies. I think we should probably start by talking about the fact that you're playing together as a unit, and really the only forward line that is for the NHL. How much is it helping you?
Well, I think definitely it's a big advantage, Dave, because we've played together for the last year and a half, and you know, we know basically where each one of us is going to be on the ice at any given moment. And you know, some of the other guys, there are 2 guys from one team playing on each of the other lines, but you know, sometimes it's tough to fit the third guy in there, and I think that you know, with the 3 of us playing together like that, it makes it much easier.
You hit several Soviets and roused the crowd in game number 1. I wonder how effective you thought it was, because we keep hearing that no matter how hard you hit them, it's not going to make any difference.
Well, that's what I was told, that they never show any emotion after you hit them or anything, but I hit some guys pretty good the other night, and had a couple guys yelling at me, but I think, you know, it's part of the game, and if you can, you know, the fact isn't to hurt them, it's to, you know, take them out of the play, and I think it works pretty effectively, because they like to use the give and go, and if you can take that first guy out that passes the puck, then he's got nobody to give it to. So,
are they easier targets than your NHL opponents?
Definitely. They just skate around, they make a pass, and they look where it goes, and as they're looking, that's the best time to hit them. And they don't bring their sticks up or anything, so you just got a free shot out of them.
You had to take a solid hit to get the play started for the first NHL goal today. I wonder if you think they're hitting you harder today than they were on Thursday.
Well, you know, they are playing stronger in the corners, much stronger, and they're forcing us a little bit on that play. I was, you know, more or less just trying to get the puck, and the guy hit me, and luckily it went forward. But, you know, they are strong fellas, and they'll hit you if they get a chance, so, you know, you got to keep your head up.
Was there any worry about overconfidence after the first game? It was a somewhat easy victory. You had the game in control, seemingly from the first minute when you went up 1-0. Did you have any thoughts that you might relax just a little bit coming into this game?
I think there was a chance that we might, but, you know, there's guys on our team that have played against them a number of times in different tournaments, and, you know, they know well that the first game they didn't play that well, and they come out tonight, and we knew they were going to play a lot better than they did Saturday, because I'm sure, like us, they were a little nervous, and we just happened to get the jump on them, and, you know, they are playing much, much better than they did Thursday night.
Did Scotty Bowman ask you to make any adjustments in your game for today based on what he saw on Thursday?
Well, we've heard a lot about the referee Dombrowski, and I just figured, you know, I thought I threw clean checks the other night, and the guys just said, you know, if you're going to hit somebody, just keep your arms down and take them with the shoulder, and, you know, that's basically what I'm going to try and do.
We're going to Canada with this telecast. Do you have any messages you'd like to send?
Yeah, I always get hell for not saying hello to my family, so I say hi to Mom and my brother and my sister and everybody at home.
Consider it done. He wanted to say it, and he did. Clark, congratulations on a great series so far, to your line mates as well and the rest of the team. It's been quite a series. Are you enjoying it?
Oh, it's super. It's the biggest part of my career right now. I think the next step will probably be getting into the Stanley Cup Finals, because that's where our team wants to get, and I'm just having a great time. The guys are great, and we've got a real good team spirit going here, and it's super.
We're enjoying watching it. Clark Gillies, who assisted on both NHL goals in the first period, live from New York. This is the Challenge Cup.
Things go better when you and Coke.
Things like watching your team.
Whoa, look at it again.
Canada is a big country. From the St. Lawrence to the Pacific, there's mile after mile of always changing, always beautiful scenery. To span these vast distances, Reimer Express offers Canadian industry fast, reliable service on a daily scheduled basis. A small shipment or a full load, Reimer Express has the necessary experience, equipment, and personnel to provide the service you want. Reimer Express, we've got what it takes to take what you've got.
More than a 1 in 3 chance you will win something. More than 1 in 3 you'll make good. Better than 1 in 3 you'll grin. Better than 1 in 3 you'll win that Lotto Canada game. It sure looks good.
$1 million prize, thousands of other cash prizes, bonus tickets, and instant checks. Now your Lotto Canada pouch has better than a 1 in 3 chance to win something.
That Lotto Canada game, it sure looks good.
The Challenge Cup Series is coming to you live from New York's Madison Square Garden. The National Hockey League is in front of the USSR by a score of 2-1. There are many great stars in the National Hockey League lineup. We talked to one of them, Clark Gillies, but we like to identify a little more closely with some of the great players from the Soviet Union who have made the trip and are playing in this series. And one of the best-known defensemen over the years, considered one of the strongest men in hockey, is Valery Vasilyev.
Valery Vasilyev is acknowledged as a major pillar of the Soviet defense. He began to play at age 10 in his hometown of Gorky, where he lived right next to the Dynamo Stadium. Vasilyev worked his way up through the boys team, then the juniors, and finally to the Gorky Torpedo team in the Soviet Major League. In 1967, Vasilyev was invited to join the Dynamo team in Moscow, where he still plays today. Since 1970, Vasilyev has been a member of the Soviet national team. And so besides lots of medals, he has lots of photo memories of his trips to other hockey countries. And there he is with Canada's Soviet hockey interpreter, Aggie Kuklowitz. Valery and his wife Tatiana live in an apartment in Moscow. They've been married 7 years and have a 5-year-old daughter, Lena, who was away at her grandparents when our cameras visited. Vasilyev is in his 3rd year at the Krupskaya Teachers Training Institute in Moscow. Commenting on how a good defenseman should play, Vasilyev says, the defenseman must be tough. The attacker must fear you or be concerned about you. But the defenseman must keep cool. Toughness should not be confused with roughness.
Ничего.
And girls, how do you like that fancy samovar? And those colorful wooden bowls in Tatiana Vasilyev's kitchen? Vasilyev is said to be one of the strongest players in hockey, which obviously helps him out in the close checking. But he's also quite good at launching an attack with a quick pass, or even an occasional rush. Like most North American hockey players, Vasilyev likes to relax with music. At age 29, he's a veteran of the Soviet defense, and eventually will probably be remembered as one of the all-time great blue liners in Soviet hockey history.
Toughness must not be confused with roughness. Valery Vasilyev, we're watching a lot of him in this series. And next, we'll watch Howie Meeker with highlights from the first period of play as we continue from Madison Square Garden. This is the series of the century, the Soviets and the NHL Stars from New York.
Come on.
Bonjour, I'd like to take you on a tour of Monte Carlo.
Come to Monte Carlo. Isn't this where you belong?
You see, there's more to Gillefleur than hockey sticks. And there's more to Monte Carlo than fine performance. I like the way it handles. I like the way it looks. Monte Carlo, isn't this where you belong?
Zenith announces a breakthrough. System 3. The best Zenith ever. A brand new picture tube for the sharpest Zenith picture ever. And an all-new modular chassis. Designed to be the best performing, the most reliable color TV in Zenith history. Zenith. System 3. It's the best Zenith ever.
Well, the NHL does have a 2-1 lead over the Soviet Union at the end of one period, but I think a lot of us are feeling that might be a little flattering to the NHL based on the overall play. Certainly, in the first 10 minutes, Howie Meeker, I don't think anybody could argue that the Soviets showed great strength, much better than on Thursday, and dominated the play.
As I said in the first show, Dave, the Soviets bragged, hey, we didn't come here to learn. Well, I'll tell you, they learned something that first game, that if we're going to beat Team NHL, we're going to have to shoot the puck in, we're going to have to forecheck, we're going to have to control the play in their zone, and move our players in bunches in their zone. And they've just done it super and caused us all kinds of headaches. Here, we'd like to show you a highlight. Right off the face-off, Soviets get the puck, and hey, what do? Woo-hoo! If they continue to do this, we could be in trouble. They shoot the puck in. Now the first man takes the man. And look where the second and third. And look at how they flood the half of the ice. All 5 men are in the half of the ice that the puck is in. Where they come up with the puck, get right there to the defenseman, and there's a shot in the net. Now watch how they go in the corner. They all come this way. And look at, there's 4 of them. Hold on, let's back it up. Can we stop it, fellas, and back that up? On Trotskyi's goal, the Soviets had the puck in this exact same position, and when you're flooding a zone like that, you never pass it in the center. Your mother could be home free. Never give her the puck. You got to bring it out the boards. Watch what happens here. There's pressure on the NHL player, and he throws it into the middle of the ice. The Soviets come up with it. Oh, Jiminy Crickets, if you continue to make that type of play under those conditions, the only thing that can happen is that you're going to get hurt. But see how they flood the zone and the area in which the puck is going to come out.
Now, does that have anything to do with the goal if they did score?
Yep. We've been talking about how Team Canada, Team NHL has taken the puck away from the center ice. What they do is the wings pick up the wings, and the defenseman the defensemen move out, so there's no way that the Soviets can pass the puck through center ice. And this is what they've been trying to do as long as we've been playing them. So the only way to do it is carry the puck along the boards and shoot it in. And this is exactly what they did. They got the goal. Watch.
The goal by Sergei Kapustin.
They carried the puck along the boards, shot it in, and look, they send again, 2 men into the corner. Flood that whole zone. They know the puck is going to come out this way, so they have 1 man there. The only problem here could be the rebound. Now you'll see the NHL player in the lower part of your screen, instead of going in and picking up Kapustin, he stays out too deep, and bang, Kapustin is home free, and then it goes. But certainly they have learned their lesson. They're shooting the puck in. They're taking the man. First man is taking the man with the puck, and they're sending the second and third in there to do the same thing. Hey, this is going to be a super hockey game, and they're going to make us win it in a style of, hey, we have no advantage. Before I thought we had a distinct advantage because they wouldn't force us to change our game.
Well, the Soviets have certainly changed, or else they've found some way to do things a lot better, but they still are trailing by a score of 2-1. Coming up, the second period of play. This is the Challenge Cup Series, live from New York's Madison Square Garden.
I have an appointment.
Oh, what you have is a nice car, mister. Tell me, you pay extra for everything?
No, sir. 79 Chevette comes very well equipped.
Ah, lots of little car for the money, huh? Look here, girl. AM radio.
And a reclining seat too, Papa.
A console, a fancy new griddle, and an improved engine.
Hey, Papa, it's a radio weight loss.
Ah, an hatchback too, boy. You get all this for one low price, mister?
Yes, sir. And a whole lot more.
Okay. First we buy Chevette, then we have celebration! Chevette's a lot of little car for the money. Get one for the gypsy in your soul.
The Challenge Cup, the series of the century, featuring the stars of the Soviet Union meeting Team NHL, continues tomorrow night here at Madison Square Garden in New York, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to join us. 2-1 for Team NHL after 1 period here in Game 2. A fortunate lead, Bobby, and I'd like to talk about Tretiak, because I think he's the difference. He has not played well.
Well, when you look and see 5 shots and you allow 2 goals, you say right off the bat, you know, he's not playing well. He got a piece of both goals. I've seen him play better. I really can't fault him on the 2 goals in the first period. He got a piece of both of them. Trottier goal was a shot across and it was a lucky goal or whatever you want to say, but he hasn't played as well as he played, say, in 72, but I couldn't fault him for the 2 goals in the first period.
You know, Chico Resch is up here, and he just mentioned that the team NHL was not as high, as he put it, as at the beginning of the game Thursday night. He said possibly understandable.
Well, I think this period they're going to come out flying. To get out of that period with a 2-1 lead, they're not stupid. They know they didn't play well. They know the Soviets had it over them a little bit in that first period. So I think they'll come out the second period flying.
I think one thing that we might make note of after all of our talk before the game, the refereeing didn't seem to be a factor in that period at all.
I thought he did a pretty good job, and I hope it continues like that, but you never know.
There's one call on solving that a lot of people thought he could have made, but he did not. I noticed, Bobby, right toward the end of the period, Scotty Bowman started to mix up the lines a bit. He had Perro with Lafleur and Schutt, and he had Clark Gillies on the left side with Clark and Barber. Does that surprise you?
Well, not really. You know, Scotty, I don't know how much they match lines in the Soviet Union, but matching lines against Scotty, you're matching against one of the best. And he'll break up his lines to get the people playing against the people he wants. And you've seen Scotty, I've seen Scotty do it millions of times.
Okay, Bobby, we have to get set now for the second period. There is Mr. Bowman back of his bench, and now here's Mr. Gallivan at his usual spot. Danny?
Okay, Dick. 2-1 the score, NHL. Leading the USSR, scores Bossy and Trottier for the NHL, Kapustin for the Soviets. The sports story-studded garden known as Madison, located in Midtown Manhattan, is a sellout again for this game. We have, of course, a fair number of Europeans here, many Canadians in attendance, and we have them from all over the United States. And yet there is not an American-born player here. I heard Jim Boughton mention that last night. Not on the ice. but there was an American on the ice the first game, Robert Merrill. He wasn't here today. And getting back to national anthems, I thought Roger Doucette centered for two great wingers. Now into the corner, they hold it on the board.
They received treatment. He's out there today.
From the face-off, in the Stars zone, there's a pass from the right side by McDonald, intended for Perrault down the ice, and that is the sixth icing of the game against the NHL Stars.
But that's an icing that really was a pass that went astray, not something to relieve the pressure.
I think Scotty's plan now, Dick, is to, when the puck is in the far corner, get the winger quickly on the opposite boards and fire it around like that, and they're going to come out of there pretty easily if they do that.
Soviets with Petrov, Tumanev, and Mikhailov. On the face-off, the Stars starting out quickly with the flashy Perrault on the left side. He's over the line. Perrault puts on the brakes. He takes it up, winds up for the shot. He scores!
Well, that makes it 3-1, Bobby, and the puck hit something or somebody on the way, I'm sure.
I think Tretiak got a piece of it. Here's a case of not taking the man in your end. You can't let Gilbert Perrault float around in your ends. Everybody goes away from him, he blasts it. I think it goes right in. Tretiak gets a piece of it. Between the legs.
All right, we'll get a look at it here from the corner camera, and
you'll see two skaters go away from him. There's one.
Right.
About one skater.
Oh, there's the other one right there.
Right there. But you can't let Gilles Perrault. Oh, it did. You're right.
Might not be his goal. Somebody was wrapped up, and I didn't see who it was. Perrault shot the puck. I thought that, and I must confess, I don't know who that was, wrapped up in the arms of the defenseman. Shot it out. Oh, Perrault gets it. I don't know about that.
But you were right, Dick. Good eyes.
Just getting them focused at this distance. Well, Danny, that could be a big one. 27 seconds to go ahead, 3-1.
And the Stars have maximized to an alarming degree productivity on shots. 6 shots, 3 goals, batting .500. That's very high in hockey. Now for Vukin around the net. Plays it to the far side. Golikov, Alexander missed the pass, and Savard cleared it on the right side of the Soviet line. Vukin returning it, and Beck has it. Shoots it on the left side, and it hit Barber, who was going to the bench.
Right. Team NHL lucky there, perhaps, to get called for too many men. Now there's Perrault, who gets credit for the goal. Bobby will see it again. This will illustrate better your theory here.
You know, you can't skate by, well, you can't skate by anyone in your end, especially Gilbert Perrault. I think you were right. That was tipped in front of the net too, Dick.
On the face-off, it is Beck clearing it, and it hit the top of the boards at the Soviet bench, so the face-off will be back in the Stars zone.
So the official call on the goal, Perrault from Sittler at 27 seconds here in the second period. 3-1, Team NHL.
Very big goal for his Dick.
Makarov, Alexander Golikov, Vladimir Golikov up front for the Soviets. Now from the face-off, it was almost picked off in front of the net. On the right side, the Stars try to get out. Along the boards it goes, and hopped over the boards, and a lot of whistles in the early minutes of the second period.
All the times I've seen the Soviets play, I've never, ever seen them keep their defensemen in like they're keeping them in now.
From the face-off, there's Lapointe shooting it to the far side. The Soviets try to keep it in. They partially succeed. It's into the corner, and there's Potvin clearing it to the other side. Bossy couldn't pick it up. It's back into Soviet territory. Vilya Letinov is back there, and they bump in the corner. Now Lapointe looking at a high-flying puck. Golikov is over the line. He dropped it to Makarov to Golikov. A high-rising shot on the rebound with Dryden sprawled, and he holds it.
Well, one of the stars of this series certainly has been young Mike Bossy of the New York Islanders, as we look at Guy Lapointe, and boy, he has been shaken up as a result of that last rush. The trainer is out there. Norm Mackey of the Atlanta Flames is the trainer for Team NHL. And there he is talking to Guy, who hasn't seen that much service here this afternoon. On the ice a couple of times in the first period. He hasn't played a game, Bobby, if I'm right here. I believe 3 weeks ago tonight, the last time that LaPointe was in game action in the NHL. He had a touch of influenza, actually a touch of pneumonia, really, I guess, and that caused him to miss all of that action. Here's a back of the net look at that last exchange. The puck comes up over the net as they came down 3-on-2 on LaPointe and Potvin. And LaPointe drops, and he got the puck. That's what it was.
They put that late man all the time, dropping behind.
The Soviets again, everybody up. The Stars are leading here early in the second period, 3-1. There's a pass on the right side intended for Barber. Fedorov is back there, and it's icing again against the NHL.
The Challenge Cup, the series of the century.
Over the years, the common cold hasn't gotten any more complicated, but choosing a cold remedy definitely has. That's why it's time for some common sense about the common cold. Remember that aspirin will reduce your fever and soothe your aches and pains with just one simple proven ingredient. Got a cold? Rest. Drink liquids and take aspirin. Aspirin is relief you can trust.
Well, there's Iona Campagnolo, Minister of Fitness and Amateur Sport in Canada. She was at the dinner last night at the Waldorf, and she is in attendance this afternoon, obviously, here at Madison Square.
From the face-off, it goes into the corner. There is Salming. He lobbed it into the center ice area. My, oh my, the NHL just getting that puck and clearing it down the ice.
That's the first time, though, Danny, that they've literally cleared it down the ice. The other icings in this period, there were two others where the result of passes that went astray, but nevertheless, it's happening. There is number 4, Sergei Babinov. He's 22 years of age. He did not play in Game 1 Thursday. He was an extra man.
It's Colvin at center, Varnikov on one wing, Skvortsov on the other. It is Salming with it. He played it off the boards. The Soviets keeping it in behind the net. They score! Colvin, or rather Varnikov, finally knifing that one through there. And it is 3-2, number 10, Varnikov.
That's one thing you don't want to do with the Soviets is give the puck up in your end, and that's what happened. I think it was Salming tried to shoot up the boards, and it hit something on the boards and came right back to Varnikov. He made a great play, and Salming went down to block it. I don't know if we're going to see that.
Same kind of a play Bob Gainey made at that same end the other night. But Team NHL never got organized, Bobby, on those 2 or 3 face-offs. They iced the puck, and right there, Salming just threw it up along the boards. There wasn't anybody there that was near to it, except the Soviet player. 3-2.
Skvortsov gets the assist, and the Soviets are back into the thick of things, just the differential of the 1 goal. Now there is another stoppage in play. The puck over the boards just outside the Soviet line. The shots on goal. USSR 8-6 for the NHL. There you are, Dick.
Well, you're right, Bobby. He threw it right up there. Salming in front of the net. He had thrown the puck around on the boards, and they were caught.
Shluptov with Kapustin. And Balderas the line for the Soviets. In the Soviet zone, it comes on the left side. Kapustin to the far wing to Balderas with Shluptov. Here's Balderas over to Kapustin. He overskated it. The Stars roll it into Soviet territory. Back there quickly, Starikov. And it's cleared to center by Shluptov. Savard feeding it in on the left side for Gainey. Into the corner, chopped around the net. Starikov has it for the Soviets. A long pass to the line. Kapustin, he got away from Shutt. A pass goes off the leg of Lafleur. It's slapped to the boards by Beck. Now at the line, the Soviets firing back into the corner, and Beck is around the net. To the right side. They fight for possession. Clark hands it off to Savard up on the left side. That misses Steve Shutt. Down the ice it goes. Starikov touches it, and it's icing against the NHL Stars.
4 players in the Soviet team not in uniform. There they are, sitting together, watching this one. There is Harlamov. As we zero in on a long-time great Soviet star. He was shaken up by a Larry Robinson check late in the game on Thursday night, suffered a severe Charlie horse, and is not in scores more points against NHL opposition than anyone else in the Soviet lineup. Bobby Clark leads the Team NHL lineup in that regard. That's going into this series.
60 minutes and 35 seconds. Remaining in the second period, 3-2 to the NHL. Dryden catching that sharp angle shot, and again they line up for the face-off in deep Canadians territory against Dryden to his left. And this is his second game. Of course, he was in goal, performed rather admirably. Not too much work, but some brilliant saves in that opening game. Now Carroll coming down, he slides the pass, and it goes hopping over the boards to the left of Tretiak.
This period is past the 3.5-minute mark, and the only shot that Scotty Bowman's Team NHL has managed is the one that went in. Carroll getting credit for the goal. And assist going to Stickler.
Now they jam in the circle. It's lugged into the center ice area. Kumanev over the line, dropped it into the slot. It's cleared. Robinson chopped it out on the right side. And I don't know, that puck is alive. Over the board.
The ice, I think, Danny, it's starting to tell. Live from New York, this is the Challenge Cup.
Can I help you?
Baboon Burger.
Nice car. What is it?
Chevy Chevette. Best-selling small car in North America.
What do you have on it?
AM radio, console, reclining bucket seats, white striped tires. It's all standard on the four-door Chevy Chevette. Even the hatchback.
Love it, but I don't need the hatchback.
How come?
I've already got a trunk.
Chevy Chevette. A lot of little car for the money.
It is the second period here at Madison Square Garden. NHL 3 and the Soviets 2. The Stars get the draw. They clear it on the boards. Bossy is having difficulty. Finally, he gets it into the center ice area. Vladimir Golikov over to his brother. The shot, the rebound, and it's cleared away by LaPointe. Soviets keeping it in. Golikov winds up with a shot, and it goes off, riding over the glass in the corner.
Bobby, Team NHL using the boards, as you mentioned, right off the bat here in the second period, but the Soviets are reading it perfectly.
Dick, they've got their defensemen coming in, pinching and doing a heck of a job. If we're going to shoot it around the boards, we've got to shoot it pretty hard so that winger can tip it by that defenseman coming in. If you shoot it too easy, it's just making it too tough for that winger.
Now it's into the center ice area. Soviets, Alexander Golikov having his problems against Trottier, who chopped it in, and it was called on the offside.
Young Mike Bossy's been a fine player for Team NHL. A goal here today. We asked him prior to the game about his feelings about the big one on Thursday.
Playing such a big game. I was very excited about being in that game against the Russians. It's my first time playing against them with a pro team, and playing with 24 other stars in the NHL was very exciting for me, and I'm looking forward to the two next games that we're playing against them.
Vasiliev bumping him with Shotman down. Vasiliev gets the pass back, comes down to the line. Dvorak takes a shot. It's around the net to the other side. The Soviets getting it back to Vasiliev. Knocked down by Robinson, who kicked it into the center ice area. Now Starikov. Ahead to Vernikov. Vernikov back to his own line. Over to Starikov up on the wing, and on it for the Stars. Dion took the pass. Here's Robinson getting it.
A super goal by Larry. Moves the puck. Beyond moves it to LaFleur. Robinson keeps going. And watch how he cuts out here. The big fella right out. Tretiak, you come in like that on a Cheevers or an Esposito or a Dryden, he's going to cut you down. He's going to poke check the puck right off your stick.
He moved back into the crease.
Didn't come out at him at all. If he had come out, there was no way Larry would have gone through there.
Robinson from LaFleur and Dion at 5:06.
Great play.
4-2. Team NHL. A very strange type of game. And you look at the score and then look at the play.
It is now NHL 4, the Soviets 2. Pervukin took a shot. He hit Balderas with it. Savard trying to clear it on the right side. Now here's Barber. His pass broken up and Clark carries on in ahead to Barber. Into the corner. Vilyaledinov knocks it to the side. He's covering up in front. Now the Soviets starting out. Klukov with Kapustin. Kapustin over the line. He dropped it back. Now closing in for the shot. Vilyaledinov. Vilyaledinov. He's back. Gets it into the corner. They fight for it along the boards and it's cleared into the center ice area back into the Soviet territory. Pervukin to Vilyaledinov. Back to Pervukin. Takes his time out over the line ahead. And Perro turns, comes back for the NHL All-Stars. Here is Perro. Perro working off the board, coming in front. Great work by Perro. Back it goes. McDonald to Beck. Into the corner behind the net to Perro. There's a shot by McDonald. And he ricocheted that off the leg. Good pressure here by the Stars. Now the Soviets starting up. Kumanev hitting the line. Coming in with Mikhailov right in front. A shot. And a scintillating save by Dryden. Klukov takes a shot. And Dryden got a piece of that. Here's Babinov. He cleared it into the corner. And Beck shoots it down the ice. And it is icing.
This game between the NHL All-Stars and the Soviet national team is coming to you from New York.
2 goals. Molson Gold? I just served the last one, I'm afraid. We've got plenty of,
Honestly, I don't. What season?
To make a long story short, the next day... let me hold that, please.
Thank you.
Puppy sleeves, a big, long earring, the whole thing. Waiter!
If you go for the smooth taste of a Molson Golden, you don't settle for something else. When it's golden, you go for it.
The teams have played 7 minutes and 7 seconds in the second period. NHL 4, Soviet 2. This is Dick Irvin along with Danny Gallivan, Bobby Orr, Dave Hodge, and Howie Meeker in Game 2 of the Challenge Cup Series in New York.
Now the Stars on the right side. Rink-wide pass. Bossy over for Gillies. Gillies jostling going in there. Runs into Fedorov. Now it's to the side of the Soviets net in the corner. Bossy looking for a puck. And it's cleared out over the line by Fedorov. Here is Babinov. Over to Fedorov. Back it goes to the other side. Behind the net and coming out on the left side. Mikhailov. He's at center. Right wing pass. Back it goes to the corner. Mikhailov going in against Dryden. Mikhailov falling along with Salming. And it is Trottier. Trottier losing it. Pass over the other side. Right in front. There's a backhand shot by Petrov. And a penalty is about to be assessed.
Salming's going to get an interference call, and for the first time in the series, we've got a bit of an altercation. There have been no coincidental penalties called to date through to this point in Game 2. And I think Salming gets the only call right here. You are watching the Series of the Century live from Madison Square Garden.
Things go better when you and Coke get together.
Things like the Charlottetown Festival.
Again, searching for Sketron. We're living life.
Dr. Stampede.
Things go better when you and Coke get together. Coke and life. Coca-Cola and
Interference call against Borja Salming, Bobby, right in front of the net, I believe this takes place.
Well, he pulls him down. That's a call I think he has to make.
So the Soviets, with another excellent opportunity to move to within 1 goal. They have an explosive power play. Here's Pervukin. Over on the other side it goes. By Leletin to the side of the net. The net is empty. Clark to Savard. Savard gets down into the center ice area. Ran into Vilya Lepanov. And they bumped rather heavily at the line. Makarov digging down on the left side. He's over the line. Here's the drop pass. Golikov, Vladimir to Vervuken. Over on the other side. Winding up for the shot. The rebound. That was a hard drive. Here's Vervuken. Vervuken has it knocked off his stick. Vilya Lepanov brought it back and cleared it at his own line to the other side. Vervuken took the pass from Makarov. Golikov lost it. Vervuken laying it to the other side. Vilya Lepanov finally got it ahead. It's over the line. Golikov waits back to Vervuken over on the other side. Into the corners. They take a look. Vilya Lepanov has it again to Makarov. Vilya Lepanov over to Vervuken. Vilya Lepanov again. Into the corner. They try to pass it in front. Puck is loose. And let's see, his stick makes contact. The stick was above the shoulder.
Soviets might complain a bit there because puck went from an NHL player to a Soviet player. Well, Valerie Harper in the crowd. Rhoda of television fame. She was here for the opener on Thursday as our sign man from the Spectrum in Philadelphia. He's here once more. Penalty to Salming. He had 31 seconds left. Spelled Valeri. Pretty good. Savard gets a hand. Well deserved. He's been power and strength out there.
So the Soviets still on the power play. 4-2 the score for the NHL All-Stars, and Robinson, who has the last Stars goal, losing it to Starikov. Ahead to Balderas. Balderas loses his balance, and Strickler cleared it down into Soviet territory. Starikov is back there for it. Kapushkin coming back. Slukov and Balderas now in over the line for Kapushkin, and he's broken up again by Strickler. Here's Salming coming back in over the line. Lanny McDonald going up, and he couldn't get it. Slukov to the other side. Long lead pass by Vasiliev. Down the ice it goes, and it is icing against the Soviets.
That's the first icing against the Soviets, and prior to the power play, the shots directed at the goal totally favored the Soviets. 27-12. It'll be more than that now. As far as the shots on goal are concerned, it's 15-7 in favor of the Soviets. And Bobby, you get an outfit like Team NHL with all that firepower, and just past the halfway mark of the hockey game, they've had only 7 shots. Tells you how the games are going.
Well, the Soviets are playing very, very well. I'm sure the NHL Stars will come on before the afternoon's over.
Face-off in Soviet territory. A low shot just wide by Shutt. And Vernikov, Colvin, Gavorska. That is the line for the Soviets. We have Dion, Lafleur, and Shutt for the Stars. Dion couldn't get by Colvin. Lafleur gets it loose. He's coming in against Vabanov. Here's Lafleur dropping it back to Shutt. There's the shot. And Tretiak was very alert and looked like the old-time Tretiak on that one, kicking it out in rapier-like fashion. Now the Soviets. Ahead it goes. Skvortsov, he's in over the line. Jammed under the play and knocked to the ice by Salming. Vabanov clearing it ahead. Colvin is in over the line. He's tied up. Over on the far side by Robinson. Here's Lafleur faking the shot. Lafleur putting on the brakes. Takes another look. Fedorov ties him up. And the Soviets clear it down to the Stars line, and Robinson returns it to Soviet territory. Fedorov is back there in his car for icing.
Dick, on that last penalty against the NHL Stars, they were happy to let the Soviets handle that puck outside that box, and they really didn't have any good scoring opportunities. But Vervuken a couple times moved in from the point, and if the passes had been on his stick, they would have been in the net.
No, they were trying to set him up, but you're right. The box formation paid off for the NHL. Skvortsov played very well for the Wings in the 4 games with the Soviets, and we say hi back to you, the sign painters here at the Garden.
It is 4-2. The Stars leading in the second period, 8 minutes and 23 seconds left. Now the Soviets from their own line. Shumanev is over the line, back to Petrov. He tried to feed it back, and it's intercepted by Savard. Savard into the center ice area. Had trouble against Petrov. Mikhailov to Shumanev. He's chased behind the net by Lanny McDonald. McDonald, he belted Shumanev into the center ice area. Provoking a long shot, no difficulty for Dryden on that. And Sittler intercepted by Petrov. And he whistles a shot knocked wide by Shumanev. That was an excellent scoring opportunity as Petrov intercepted in the slot position. Bilya Letonov along the board, fighting for possession with Sittler. And now in there is Shumanev, and the play is stopped.
Now there's the team captain of the Soviet National Club, Boris Mikhailov. 7 World Championship teams. He's 34 years of age, certainly a top veteran. And he scored their opening goal in this series on Thursday night. Bobby, I still can't get over some of those bad passes Team NHL is throwing in its own opponents. We're looking at Anders Hedberg in cities today.
If we continue to cough it up like that, or if the NHL starts continue to cough it up, we're going to be in trouble.
7 minutes and 35 seconds now remain in the second period. A 2-goal differential, 4-2 for the NHL All-Stars. There's Guy Lapointe fading to the left side, firing it to the line, stopped by Vasiliev, and then cleared back in by Trottier. Gillies trying to knock down Starikov pass, and this is going to be icing against the Soviets.
This is live coverage of game number 2 for the Challenge Cup.
When you got it, you know it. When you got it, you show it.
Having a family isn't the only reason for owning a full-size car. Like Pontiac's magnificent 1979 Parisienne, which has a lot more going for it besides room. The resizing some cars are just getting around to now, Pontiac made happen 2 years ago. Pontiac's got it made. Go get it.
Nobody's got it like Pontiac.
You got it, Pontiac.
Tony Esposito.
Vladimir Golikov along with Makarov, the line for the Soviets. For the Stars, the Islanders line of Bosby, Trottier, and Gillies. Makarov coming in over the line. Makarov fades to the right side. He was upended. Now on the right side, here's Bosby trying to get in front. And a good defensive play by Starikov. Well, they hold it on the boards in the corner. That man is a tremendous scorer whom you see there. Bobby, the puck seems to follow him at times, or he follows it.
Danny, he can put it in. He knows how to play the game.
Somebody yell, "Let's go Islanders." That's the chant you hear when you're at the Nassau Coliseum for the Islanders' home game. They started here a minute ago, and that line went out there. Trottier, Bossy, and Gillies.
Lining up for the face-off to the left of Tretiak. Gainey, Clark, and Barber to the line for the Stars. They have Robinson and Salming out of your picture. They are up inside on the points, ready to fire. But the Soviets, Fedorov to the other side, to Babanov, bumping with Gainey. Clark was upended. Now here's Valderas clearing it out. Slukov was going after it, and Barber did some neat back-checking. Big Slukov up on the wing. It goes to Kapustin. Robinson watching back and then watching Kapustin. In goes Babanov. Barber out over the line. Lost it quickly. Valderas. Fedorov. He takes a look. The pass goes up to Slukov over the line with Kapustin. He's bumping with Barber. Here's Barber coming down with Clark. The Flyers players in over the line. Clark to Gainey. Tretiak was in front of that one. He didn't have a chance to move, but he was in the right spot at the right time. There's a face-off about to take place in Soviet territory.
Good scoring chance. It's 4-2 for Team NHL over the Soviets. 5:56 left in the second period. Bobby, a good scoring chance.
Another case, too, the man turning away from Clark inside that blue line and letting him go. And Clark, he made a great play to Bobby Gainey, and Tretiak made a great save.
Well, here's a better look at it, Bob.
Watch him. Stick checking. In your end, that'll kill you every time.
So the NHL Stars. Defense over the line for the faceoff. To the far side, in front of the net. Viziev got it up. It comes to the line finally, and Lafleur tipped it back into the center ice area. Viziev again. Now it's over on the far side. Dvorak got it up on the wing, and it's repelled in by Colvin. Now into the corner. Savard played it off the board. Viziev goes back there. He has it, and he whipped the pass into the center ice area. Vernikov, his pass intercepted. It's shot over the line. Draw pass to Dion. Dion is getting in close. He fired it, and a remarkable save by Tretiak. Tretiak has pulled off perhaps his best save since the series so far in this second period. He was not too brilliant in the first. And of course he let in perhaps a shot goal in the second, but he's looked sharper of late. Now the Soviets coming back in. There's shot. Dvorak, I think it is he who has been checked. Is that number 11?
Barry Beck is going to get the penalty on the play, and it is number 11, Sportsov, the player who was shaken up by Beck, but Beck heads to the penalty box. The Challenge Cup is coming to you live from New York.
There it is, the last one. What a night.
Hey, Terry, celebrating with a
Well, there's no two ways about it, Terry, old pal. You really did it this time.
What's the occasion?
Well, you knew they'd go for it. And the reaction?
Hey, all right.
Brador, no less.
You'd have thought they'd never seen it before.
Next time, bring out the Brador. Your generosity will be appreciated, and your good taste remembered.
Alexander Sportsov, number 11 of the Soviet national team, being attended to by the Soviet trainer. That comes as a result of the check thrown at him by Barry Beck, who has been penalized for boarding at 15:07 here in the second period.
So the Soviets, with their awesome power play, have an opportunity again, so let us see what will eventuate here. They need a goal to get back within one. It's 4-2 for the Stars. Starikov, he hands it off. Zhumanev to Mikhailov, over to Petrov. Four Soviets over the line. Petrov takes a look. He fires a long, high pass, and it's over the glass.
They're setting up the basketball chant defense here in Madison Square Garden. Bit of a basketball flavor to the introductions. If you were listening, you heard Bobby Clark introduce them from the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, they play here too, I guess. Understandable. Once in a while.
A minute and 39 seconds left in the penalty as Savard digs to the corner against Mikhailov. Now it's at the lip of the crease and Dryden to Gainey, and he sweeps it down on the left side. Soviets back there to regroup, get their power play into operation. Up on the right side they go. Petrov over the line to Mikhailov. Back it goes to Vasiliev. Over to Starikov. He takes a look. In it goes to the other side to Petrov. Now here's Starikov. What is he going to do? He looks. Gets it over to Vasiliev. Now Vasiliev stars with that box to the side of the net. It's center right out in front. Went off Savard's stick. Now Petrov off the stick. Starikov has it again. He's back at the point. He takes a look. Here's Vasiliev faking the shot. He lets it go. Kicked out by Dryden. Vasiliev. He has it again. Takes a look. Will it go to the other side? It does. Now they look. Back to Vasiliev again. Into the corner. They get in front. It went off Starikov's stick. Zhumanev missed it. Vasiliev. He can't keep it in. And there are 22 seconds left in the penalty. Up there forechecking and doing a masterful job is Gainey. Now the Soviets coming up. Here's Petrov at center. He hopped over the line. Petrov turning, takes a look. Petrov is getting set. He set it. Mikhailov scores! What a beautiful setup. Mikhailov.
Oh, he could put that puck only one place, Bobby. That was up high over Dryden's left shoulder, and that's where he put it.
Petrov makes a great play to him here. Up high over his shoulder. It's a matter of time. They power play. They like to work it in. They like to get it over the blue line. slow it down, work it around, and it was a matter of time. They've got such a potent power play. It was just a matter of time.
Came just 6 seconds before the expiration of the penalty. It was their second shot on the power play, but they controlled it. So Mikhailov scores his second goal of the series, and we've got a one-goal hockey game this afternoon right now, 4-3. The NHL in the lead.
Boris Mikhailov.
Got that shot away so quickly, Daddy.
Fantastic. You know, I love to see a player with that wrist shot, Bobby Orr.
They all have great wrist shots.
17 minutes and 2 seconds for time of the goal. Just the one goal separating the teams now. Goalie cross pass is gobbled up by Barber. Barber cleared it to the line. Fedorov flipped it, and it's over the glass. 2 minutes and 39 seconds left. And he is one of the veterans of the team, Bobby. That line, Varlamov, Fedorov flipped it, and it's over the glass. 2 minutes and 39 seconds left. And he is one of the veterans of the team, Bobby. That line, Varlamov, Mikhailov, and Petrov, they're getting a little long in the tooth.
Well, they've been around for a while. I can remember them in 72, and they were the star of that series for the Soviets.
They're still tremendously dangerous. Now the puck in the star zone. It's clear to the right side. LaFleur couldn't get anywhere against Fedorov. Robinson playing it to Barber. He couldn't make contact down the ice. Fedorov is back, and it is icing against the Stars.
Bobby, a lot of people might be wondering about the lack of offense on the part of Team NHL. Only 11 shots near the end of the second period.
Well, I don't think that we're getting over center ice and throwing it in and forechecking like we did the other night. The other night we were throwing it in and forechecking the heck out of them, and they didn't know how to handle the forechecking. And they're doing that to us this afternoon. They're throwing it in, they're keeping their defense in, and we're having a few problems.
That last Soviet goal on the power play at 17:02, Mikhailov and Petrov and Vasilyev.
So this face-off to the left of Dryden, Zhluktov, Kapustin, and the other player is Balderas. He's back at the rim of the circle. There's a shot. They score! Kapustin! And it is a tie hockey game.
Well, one thing the NHL's been doing up to now is controlling face-offs in the majority, but not there, Bobby, and it cost them dearly.
I think it goes off Salming's leg. He doesn't hesitate, bang. It's off Salming's leg, and Kenny didn't have a chance on it.
Or 2 quick ones by the Soviets, and we've got a tie hockey game. It's 4-4.
I noticed it was not Balderas out there, but they had sent Mikhailov up.
Well, they're matching lines. I've never seen the Soviets do this, and they're doing it today and doing it very well.
45 seconds, the separation in time of the 2 goals. Producing second goal. Now here's Barber. Barber working his way in and is called on the offside.
Well, there he is, Kapustin with his second goal of the hockey game from Zhluktov at 17:47. And Bobby, with the Soviets getting the 2 quick ones to tie it, you look back to the save Tretiak made off Dion.
That was the big one. That
would have been a 5-2 hockey game right there.
Things start to turn.
It is Gainey into Barber. Gainey cruising against Bilyaletdinov. They get tied up. Now it comes off the glass to the left side. Kapustin coming down. Balderas takes it. Balderas passes it back. Zhluktov takes a shot. It's off a leg. Beck's leg in front. And the Stars knock it to the center. Here's Barber clearing it in against Pervuka. Gainey getting it back to Beck. Beck takes his time. Now it is Savard. Savard goes to the left side. He tried to hit his man at the line, Gillies, but couldn't.
I'll talk with one of today's NHL reserves, Anders Hedberg from the New York Rangers, and with NHL referee-in-chief Scotty Morrison. Howie Meeker will have highlights of a very wide-open period. The Soviets controlling again and are now even at 4.
Lining up for the face-off. It's outside of the Soviets line, 1 minute and 19 seconds. Left in the second period. Each team with 4 goals. There's Dennis Potvin. Ahead to Gillis. He lost it. Vasilyev ahead up on the left side. Varnikov couldn't get it. Here's Coben going in. He tried to slide the pass in front. Stars knocking it to the minute to go in the second period. Guy Lapointe having difficulty against Coleman. Dvorakov coming in. Oh, he was hit by Dennis Potvin over on the other side. Now Barnikov dropping it back. Vasiliev shooting it. It went off a player or Dryden and went wide. Coleman behind the net. Loses it to Trottier. Skvortsov tried to check in. Skvortsov getting it back. Barnikov a shot. The rebound. Gillies clearing it. Skvortsov going after it again. And the Stars are forced to roll it down into Soviet territory. Starikov up to the line. Here's Mikhailov a shot. Dryden had no difficulty with that. It's centered in front. And Petrov almost directed it to the upper left-hand corner. Soviets with the pressure on as we move into the final 8 seconds of the second period. Now Starikov out to center. Jumanev trying to corral it. Here's Settler, and that's the end of the period. So at the end of 2 periods, it's tied at 4.
Well, a very one-sided end of the period, Danny, as the Soviets totally controlled the Team NHL. Here's that last one. It did get through to Dryden as it came in from the point and deflected off Dryden up over the net. And you see the shots on goal, 21-10 through the first 2 periods. And I think the big story of the hockey game, at least as far as I'm concerned, is the fact that Team NHL, with all of that firepower, has been held to just 10 shots. And they can perhaps consider themselves fortunate. 10 shots, and 4 of them have gone in, as Tretiak has been shaky. But he did make the big save off Dion when it was 4-2, and shortly thereafter, the Soviets scored twice. In that second period, the shots on goal, the Soviets 14 and the NHL 5. And so the score at the end of the second period, 4-4, a tie hockey game. This is game 2 for the Challenge Cup.
When you got it, you know it. When you got it, you show it.
It's when you slide in behind the wheel that it really hits you. Nothing you could really put your finger on. All the same, it's there. The pride and the passion Pontiac imparts to its breed of bold, personal cars. The 1979 Grand Prix. It's there. You can feel it.
You got it, Pontiac.
From New York City, this is the Challenge Cup. Game number 2. Second period is over, and the NHL and the Soviet Union are now tied at 4, quite a difference from the first game, when at this point, the National Hockey League had a 4-1 lead. In that period, a goal by Perro that seemed as though it was deflected, and we'll perhaps try and look at that later on tape. Varnikov for the Soviet Union. Robinson restored the 2-goal lead for the NHL, and then the 2 quick ones by the Soviets. The first of the power play by Boris Mikhailov, and then Sergei Kapustin's second of the game to tie it 45 seconds after Mikhailov scored. With me is one of the NHL players who is not in uniform today, Anders Hedberg, and one of the very difficult parts of this series for Coach Scotty Bowman is to sit out 6 players from his lineup. I wonder what your thoughts are on not playing today.
I'm just happy to be able to be a part of the team, and I feel I'm a part of the team even if I'm not on the ice today.
Anders, you've had plenty of experience playing the Soviets while you were in Sweden. And I wonder what differences there are in the strategies that Scotty Bowman and the NHL players are employing from what you're used to when you played with them with Sweden against the Soviets.
Well, first of all, we usually played on the bigger ice surface in Europe, and that sure makes a different game. And also the team that Scotty Bowman has to work with certainly has more talent than the Swedish national team I played for over in Sweden.
One of the things that Scotty took into account when selecting the team, and certainly you and Ulf Nilsson fit the pattern, was that he wanted the NHL to control the puck. Now, that really isn't happening, especially in this game, but did you have more success with the Swedish nationals at keeping the puck away from them? And if so, how could the NHL utilize that?
No, I think especially if you played and even playing on a bigger ice surface, they are excellent puck control players, and that's the whole game, more so over in Europe than it is over here. I must say today they are very hungry, and they are, it seems to me, they are first on most of their loose pucks, and that's a good start to be trying to win a hockey game, and the way they're playing, I'll compliment them.
You learn by playing them once, and you've, of course, played them more than once, that you can never relax. The 2 goals at the end of the period were perfect examples. It seemed that the NHL was in a bit of a lull, and the next minute, bingo. You've had plenty of experience watching them score like that, right?
They're quick. It's not very hard shots, but they are quick shooters, and for goalkeepers, that's maybe the toughest shots for them to stop.
What changes have you noticed over the years, from the first time you played them to the way they're playing today?
Today, I think they've played different than I've seen in a long time. Never over here. I don't think they're really forechecking. I would say that they are taking the play from us instead of us taking the play from them, as I believe we should do. But because they are so hungry and they seem to be willing to suffer and win this game so badly, it's certainly tough to do.
Vladislav Tretiak has had a reputation in the past of being better in international hockey than he is in European play or even in Soviet Major League play. Only 10 shots and 4 goals today. He is not doing Superman acts here in either of the 2 games, really. But I wonder whether you noticed the Tretiak in European play was any different than the NHL have seen him, because his reputation has been great over here. Is it as good in Europe?
I guess his reputation, he got that from the 72 series, and what I saw, I only saw 2 games, but he played fantastic those games, and that's where his reputation comes from, I guess, over here. He's considered a very good goalie even in Europe, naturally. Maybe because of that series over here, though, that they even consider him even better than they do over here.
Anders, you're having quite a season. You're first in the NHL with the Rangers, and as you say, you're happy to be a part of this. So are we to be able to talk to you. Thank you.
Canadian country.
I guess everybody's got their own idea about the kind of country they like best. But you know, you could spend your whole life traveling from one side of Canada to the other, and I'll bet you still couldn't cover half of it. Like around here, there must be, a dozen places you could get to in a day's walk, and each one is different and kind of special. That's the thing about Canada I like best. Wherever you go, you're going to find something special. And as far as I'm concerned, there's only one kind of beer that can match it. Molson Canadian. My kind of beer.
Look around and you'll find the flavor of the country. Coming at ya in one big pot of beer. There's only one Canadian. Molson Canadian. Molson Canadian. Canada's kind of beer.
After 2 periods, the USSR 4 and the National Hockey League 4 were at Madison Square Garden in New York with the Challenge Cup Series. There was much emphasis prior to today's game on the presence of Soviet referee Viktor Dombrowski, and we have with us the referee-in-chief of the National Hockey League, Scotty Morris, and I think we should say right off the bat that the Soviets have not needed any help from the officials to be tied at 4-4. Was it a concern of yours?
Well, I think a little bit, Dave. We're always a little concerned as to how Victor is going to react. I'm satisfied that the big job in preparing him for a game like this is to try and impress upon him that the players are uptight and that he's got to be calm. He can't aggravate them by any of his mannerisms on the ice, and it's tough. And I think we've finally got through to Victor that a lot depends on him, and I think his standard as far as the enforcement of those penalties, they're pretty well in keeping with what our NHL players are used to.
You've had plenty of involvement with him. You've worked with him. You've seen him work. How would you rate him as an official?
Well, I think under the circumstances, Dave, I think he does a pretty good job. Victor's biggest drawbacks, of course, are his mechanics. The many times when he's dashing out of the way of the play, he turns his back to the play. He's not a very proficient skater. Certainly, he'd have to do an awful lot of changing before we would ever consider him on the staff. But under the, when he comes over here and he travels with them, they give him a suit and he dresses like them. As you know, he practiced with them. He's under a tremendous amount of pressure, and you have to give the guy credit. It's a very, very difficult position for him to be in.
As any NHL official would be in if the roles were reversed. It can't be easy for one of your men to go over with an NHL team.
Oh, it'd be the same thing, Dave. If our fellows went over there and had an NHL blazer on and ate with the NHL team and practiced and worked out with them, we have to impress upon Victor and the Soviets that that's just not done over here. And I think as soon as we arrived in New York on the Tuesday, I believe he worked out on the Tuesday, and then that was the end of it, because it's just something you have to instill on them, that the officials are, while they're a very integral part of the game, they can't associate with the players.
One thing I haven't figured out is why we haven't seen any other Soviet officials in all the years. I suppose we've seen some, but he seems to be the major one, and I guess you wouldn't have an answer for it either.
Well, Dave, he is considered to be their top referee over there, and we've asked him this many times. There's another little referee, Yuri Kerendon. I thought was a pretty good official when we had him at training camp. But Victor's had a lot of experience, and they just think he's their best.
Okay. Thank you, Scotty Morrison. It's a 4-4 tie. Coming up next, Howie Meeker with the highlights of a very interesting second period of play from New York. This is the Challenge Cup.
Ever get the urge to just let your imagination run wild? Open up your life with a GMC truck. Get out there and really do it. Like a GMC van that you can make into your own private world. A pickup maybe, or for riding the high country, a Jimmy with 4-wheel drive. And if pulling power is what you're after, try hitching up to a GMC Suburban. GMC. Trucking's what we're all about.
If you're planning a trip to California, call American Airlines, because we have Toronto's only daily non-stop flights to both Los Angeles and San Francisco, and they both feature full-length movies, plus the convenience of pre-reserved seats, one-stop check-in, and round-trip boarding passes to help you avoid lines. American Airlines to California, another thing that we do best.
We're American Airlines, doing what we do best.
Welcome to Participaction's world of great moments in sport. It was here, April 14th, 8:15 a.m. The sky was dull, but not the thoughts of Frank Conroy as he pumped down St. Stephen's Road on his way to the finish of a milestone in his running career.
My first mile. The first ever. Fantastic. I did it.
Participaction salutes Frank Conroy, his first mile. Another episode in our world of great moments in sport.
A scenic shot above New York City, and the Soviets might have taken this one themselves. So high is their intensity in this game. The National Hockey League will have to build to that level to stay even and try to go ahead. It's a 4-4 tie, but it's been a game dominated in most ways except on the scoreboard by the Soviet Union. We talked about them in the first period while the NHL was ahead. Now the Soviets have come back to tie. We're going to show some NHL highlights. Don't know how we figure that one out, but the Perot goal has raised a question mark.
Well, I think anybody who's interested in how this game of hockey should be played has to look at that Perot goal again. The most important thing in the game of hockey is, hey, what you do when you haven't got the puck. Now, the Kapustin goal, the very same thing. Perot scored this goal on a defensive mistake by the Soviets. Kapustin got his goal in exactly the same play. There you see them lined up. Now, watch the man. Can we just turn it back? We got time. Start it over again. That's it. Thanks, Roger. Watch the Soviet players. Perot's on the top of your screen. The Soviets win the draw of all things. All he has to do is block him from getting out. Okay, roller. Now watch him step aside. He steps aside and lets Perot go and get the puck. When you win the draw, it should never end up in the hands of the other team. Now Vasilyev, the defenseman on the top of your screen, was beaten yesterday by Perot. He went around him like a hoop around a barrel. Right there, he said, hey, he's not going to the outside of me. Now he doesn't attack him again. He lets Perot move in, and get the shot. We kind of think that shot might have been deflected, but certainly you have to attack Perot.
Well, let's find out as we look from ice level. We saw it once before, but didn't quite get a chance to examine it as closely as we will now.
There's Vasilyev. Should be attacking Perot right here. Should be getting closer. No way he's going to get too close to that big fella. He can fly. Tries to stick check him. Don't do that. He should make the circle and go right back at him again, but he doesn't. He retreats to the center of the ice. Here's Perot's shot. Watch in front. It might have hit, we kind of think, Sittler's stick or somebody's stick. Yes, it did. It hit a stick. And between the legs. Great goal.
Officially, it's still Perot's goal, but I think that shows pretty clearly that Darryl Sittler did score the goal to put the NHL ahead by a score of 3-1. Later, Larry Robinson made it 4-2 on a great play.
Well, Robinson, the whole secret of this is Lafleur made the Soviets make a back pass. Now watch how Lafleur and Robinson create a 2-on-1 situation when there are two Soviet defensemen. Now the Soviet defenseman on the top of your screen has to be going for Robinson. No way he can play Perot. Now watch Robinson when he comes around, block the stick, take the stick out, and right here, Tretiak should take a lesson from Johnny Bauer. Slide the hand up the stick and stick check. Look at that. Cuts in front the big bird and just scores a beautiful goal. Super goal.
But the Soviets came back with two, and it's 4-4 at the end of 2 periods of play, live from New York. This is the Soviet national team and the NHL Stars for the Challenge Cup.
Things go better when you and Coach.
Things like watching your team.
Whoa, look at it again. These two.
Thinking about going somewhere? Then come with us. We're Via Rail Canada, and we're going places. At Via, there's a choice of tours and a choice of ways to go. From a low-cost one-day outing to a complete holiday package, escorted or unescorted. This year, take a good look at Canada close up. Come, experience Canada with Via. Be good to yourself. Take the train.
The Challenge Cup, the series of the century, will conclude with Game 3 tomorrow night here in New York. We'll bring you all the action. Check your local television listings for time and station in your area. Now, Game 2 of the Challenge Cups turned into a dandy. It's 4-4 at the end of 2 periods, and I want you to let you in a little secret. As we watched the warm-up today, Bobby Orr said, our guys don't have very much jump, and maybe Bobby has sensed something right there.
Well, I watched the warm-up, Dick, and they didn't seem to be jumping like they were Thursday night before the game. Thursday night, they really worked at the warm-up. It didn't appear to me like they were jumping the same way this afternoon as they did Thursday night.
Bobby, we are seeing here this afternoon, give everybody the devil his due, really, Soviet hockey at its best.
Very good hockey. They're doing tonight what we were doing Thursday evening, and they're just not allowing us to do anything. They're forechecking us. They're strong in the corners. They're keeping their defense in. They're doing exactly what we were doing Thursday night, and like I said, we're not jumping on the puck.
You know, we are saying, and we're criticizing Team NHL really during the broadcast a couple of times for those bad passes in their own zone, but again, give the forecheckers credit for making them do it.
Well, the Soviets are coming into the NHL end, and they're checking the heck out of them, and when you check like that, like we saw Thursday night, you'll cough it up, and that's what's been happening this afternoon. But I'm sure we're going to see a very, very interesting third period.
Bobby, on the power play, some of the fans might have said, gee, look at the Soviets. They're controlling the puck. Our fellas aren't touching it, speaking of Team NHL. But really, there's a method in that particular thing. That's exactly the way that they played it.
The NHL players, if the Soviets want to move it outside the box, we set up a box, and if they want to move it outside, the NHL players are happy to let them leave it out there. It's not a dangerous place for the puck to be outside. They just got to watch because they're moving it on the far side, and that defenseman is starting to sneak in. I'm not sure which one it was, but they've got to be very careful there. A couple of times, passes just failed to click.
Bobby, they say goals at the end of a period really give incentive to the team that scores them. All right, now, from the Team NHL standpoint, you're Scotty Bowman. What do you do?
Well, I don't think Scotty's going to have to say too much to the group he has in his room. They're going to come out flying, I'm sure, this third period. There's just so much talent there. They're all winners. I don't think Scotty's going to have to say too much to them. They know they've got to come out and work for 20 minutes. They know the Soviets are playing very, very well, and they've got to go after them.
I think the name of the game really today, though, Bob, is legs.
Oh, yes, the Soviets are skating, and they never stop. If you watch them, especially in our end, they just never stop, and they get in behind you, and you look and turn to him, and then he's gone somewhere else, and you know, it's tough, and they're getting the shots on net, and then the goals are going in.
Okay, Bobby, thank you very much. Well, there you see it. The team's coming out onto the ice as we get set for the third period in today's game. Again, a reminder that if this series, well, let's say if today's game is won by the Soviets or ends in a tie, that means that tomorrow night they will have to play for a winner, and we could end up with overtime in Game 3, but that is only in Game 3. This game will be played through 3 periods only. So, Danny Gallivan, they're on the ice, and I see you are ready.
Thank you very much, Dick. And this third period, the most important period to date in the series. What happens in this period could very well determine the final outcome of the series. So there you have the summary of the hockey game in the second period. Perro and Robinson are the Stars, Vernikov, Mikhailov, and Kapustin for the Soviets. The shots on goal over 2 periods, 21 for the USSR and 10 for the National Hockey League. And Ron Andrews comes up with a rather interesting statistic. Shots directed at the goal. The Soviets better than 2-1 over the NHL Stars. The Soviets 39 and the National Hockey League team 17. We look at Ken Dryden.
Danny, another statistic, the face-offs, the total, there have been 57 face-offs in the game, and the NHL has won 36. That's 63% of them. But interestingly enough, on the one in that second period, Zhuktov beat Bobby Clark and set up the goal by Kapustin. Brian Trottier has won 14 out of 15 in the hockey game. Zhuktov has lost only 1 of 9 for the Soviets.
Okay, we are ready for the start of the third period. Petrov is at center, Mikhailov on one wing, and Tumanev on the other. It's Perro, Lafleur, and Gainey, the line for the Stars. Petrov at his own line. There's a pass intercepted by Lafleur. Lafleur a back pass to Gainey, and he couldn't come up with it cleanly. Into the corner, Starikov ahead on the left side. Mikhailov tried to hit his man Tumanev that goes down the ice, and it's touched there by Salming, so that is an icing against the Soviets.
Bobby, we are seeing here, I think, what Scotty Bowman is going to do. He is going to throw an offensive lineup out there. He had Perot out there with Lafleur that time. As you look at Andre Boudreau, a longtime member of the Vancouver Canucks, among other NHL teams, now working with the Players Association. And he's right down there by the bench. Now let's see, we have Dion out there with Sittler and McDonald. So Bowman is shaking up the line, trying to get some firepower to the NHL lineup.
And for the Soviets, Koven, Vernikov, Gavortsky. That is their line. Now on the left side, it goes down the ice into the Star zone. Savard cleared it up into the center ice area. Zhuktov. Back to Babinov. They have made a change on that line. We'll tell you about it later. Gavortsky probably was injured on that check. Zhuktov. And they've made changes. Kapustin is on now. Now Sittler is going to the line, over the line, is called on the offside. They have that complete change out there. Balderas, Zhuktov, and Kapustin.
Pick up some of that time on the Soviet bench as they yell at one another. Well, I don't know what they said, Bobby Orr, but they are up anyway. Interesting.
Now a new line. Golikov. Out there. There's a shot by Clark. Off the glove of Tretiak. He holds it and gets a face-off in deep Soviet territory.
Now we've got Lafleur in right wing with Clark and Barber. You're going to see Lafleur get a lot of ice time, Bobby. If you look at that shot by Bobby Clark.
I would guess Guy Lafleur is going to get plenty of ice time.
Makarov is the other Soviet forward. Vilyaletdinov has it, goes into the corner, ahead it goes. Vladimir Golikov stick to center, and it's fed back in by Lapointe. Vilyaletdinov plays it on the boards, now it's out to center. Makarov, back to Makarov, Makarov getting in front, there's a shot, they score! Vladimir Golikov, holy Makarov.
Well, they were caught with one man back, Bobby. Denny Potvin. Again, the Soviets score on a rebound, and they've done it a couple of times here this afternoon. Lapointe was caught up the ice. You see him trying to get back. Potvin falls, and there's the rebound. Lapointe gets back, but not quickly enough as he gets turned around, and it's 5-4. The Soviets have taken the lead. Here it comes. There's the rebound. Boy, they are in the right place at the right time so often. We are seeing tremendous teamwork here today on the part of the Soviet National Club.
So now we have Koven, Vernikov, Gavortsov is on. So he is not apparently any worse for wear as a result of that check deep in the Star zone near the end of the second period. Gavortsov is at the line against Gilly. Now Salming at the side of the net, up on the left side. It's kept in by Vasiliev. Kvortsov along the boards. Colvin is going after it, trying to get it. It comes out in front, and the Stars start out led by Gillies. Gillies over to Bossy. Bossy digs into the corner against Vasiliev. Gillies now going after Starikov, but cleared it on the boards into the center ice area. Here is Salming playing it to Gillies. He scooped it into the other side. Bossy couldn't play it into the corner, and the Soviets come into the center ice area over the Stars line. And behind the net, Robinson playing it to the right side to Bossy. Now pass to the other side to Robinson. 5-4 for the Soviets over the Stars. Robinson fired that! And a quick glove effort by Tretiak. Petrov is now on the ice. Robinson playing it back to Salming. It's off the leg. And Vasiliev playing it back to his own line. Tumanev is in behind the net. Taking his time. Gainey forechecking along with Perro and Lafleur. And the Soviets come out into the center ice area. Mikhailov to Tumanev. Tumanev trying to get it in front. He was bodied by Beck. The Stars, Lafleur into the center ice area with Gainey. 3-on-1. And Lafleur couldn't control it. Lafleur over the other side to Peck. There's the stop. And it's blocked by Tretiak. Back into the center ice area. Petrov coming down in over the line. Here's Mikhailov, a shot. It rolls into Dryden, and he covers up.
Tremendous passing by the Soviets, the Challenge Cup, the series of the century.
For a close, convenient shave, the Phillips Shave Rechargeable or the Blade. The choice is painfully obvious. The Phillips Shave Rechargeable by Phillips.
Vladimir Golikov from Makarov, the scoring play. Bobby, here it is again.
Dennis makes the right play here. He makes the puck carrier shoot the puck. Unfortunately, the rebound went out to...
Now Pervuka clearing it in. Soviets failed to hold it in. Bilyaletdinov back at his own line, played it on the other side. It's cleared in by Pervukin. Coming from the other side, Balderas behind the net. It's up on the wing. Stars fail to clear it out. Now Beck playing it in behind the net to Savard. Off the boards. It goes to Lanny McDonald. Here's Sittler at center to the Soviet line. It got by Tretiak, and it was wide by a foot or two. 5-4 for the Soviets early in the third period. Coming down over the line, Balderas. There it goes to Pushkin, trying to pick up the pass from Slipkov. The Stars led by Savard. 4 of them into the center ice area. Sittler couldn't pick it up. Bilyaletdinov fired it to the other side. Now it comes over on the far right wing. Soviets rolling at the center. Pervukin got it out. Now it's back in. Bilyaletdinov on the left side. Fired his shot. And it was blocked by Lapointe. Here's Sittler leading his way. A pass ahead on the right side of Bossy. And now it's the turn of the Stars to make changes while the play goes on. But it is icing against the NHL.
Well, there's Harold Ballard, owner of the Toronto Maple Leafs, president of the Leafs, along with Ted Huff of the Canadian Sports Network. The Soviets, Bobby, you want to crank the game back into the tail end of the second period, scored 3 times in about 4.5 minutes of playing time.
They're flying this afternoon, Dick. They're playing just super hockey, and no doubt our guys will come back right now.
The Golikov and Makarov, the line for the Soviets. That Islanders line for the Stars. Trotsky, Gillies, and Bossy is deep in Soviet territory. Starikov is trying to pry it loose. He couldn't, so they will line up for the face-off to the right of Tretiak.
I think we see...
As we look at the veteran Vasiliev, he's played a strong game today.
I think we see a lot of the forechecking. We're going to come up with the puck and get back into this game. Because I think that's the key to go after them in their end, and they'll get the puck up.
Now here's Dennis Potvin. He shoots, and again he doesn't miss by much. That's the second shot by the Stars in this period, not missing by too much, getting by Tretiak. It's cleared inadvertently over the boards by Lapointe inside the Stars line.
Well, there's no doubt Guy Lapointe is finding his legs, if you will. I mentioned earlier he has not played for 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago tonight, the last time he played. But he was on Team Canada 72 and again in 76.
Now Makarov. His shot went off Coxan. Another shot by Golikov to the side. It's in the Stars zone, and it's against the boards. Face off to the left of Dryden.
Live from New York, this is the Challenge Cup.
When you got it, you know it. When you got it, you show it.
You can see it, feel it. There's nothing run-of-the-mill about Le Mans, and it shows when you drive it. Taste, class. This is the way it is Pontiac style. The true mid-size in 79 Le Mans, Grand Le Mans, and Grand Am. Mid-size magic, you know who's got it, don't you?
Nobody's got it like Pontiac.
You got it, Pontiac.
Face off to the left of Dryden. Dvorak lost it in the slot. Turning on the right side is Bossy. In ahead for Trottier. Trottier along the boards in the corner. They fight for possession. It's in behind Tretiak. Soviets taking over. Dvorak gets it out over the line. Bossy to Trottier. Trottier against Babanov. Now Vernikov gets it out. Now it's cleared down with a long shot. Dvorak in there along the boards. They dig away the Soviets, and the Stars shoot it out and over the board.
We haven't seen much evidence, Bobby, in the game so far of that Soviet ploy of having a man hanging out by the red line, Valderas in particular. I don't imagine what's going to lead now into the Soviets' favor, 5-4. We'll see much of it for the rest of this game.
Well, they've changed a little bit. You know, Scotty had the middle cut off, so now they're going to the board. So that's why you're not seeing those guys out in center ice.
It is Bobby Clark now at center on the wings. Lafleur and shot. The Stars clearing at the center, broken up by the Soviets. Ilya Letinov finally got it back to Mikhailov, who swings and turns inside the line. Ilya Letinov playing it on the left side. Mikhailov chasing it in over the Stars line, laying into Robinson. Now at the line, there's a shot by Pervukin. And Dryden had to be very alert. It wasn't hard, but it was right on the target and partially screened. Dryden picking off a sharp angle shot from the boards from the stick of Pervukin. Holds on.
Well, there's our friend, Mr. Ozerov, the Soviet broadcaster, as he does his thing. This game is being beamed back to the Soviet Union, and he does it again from ice level here at Madison Square Garden. And he never lets himself get very far away from the Soviet bench. Or am I got that right, or which side is he on? He must be on the same side we are.
I think he's right down.
Yeah, that's right.
He's right down in front of us there.
So this huge crowd of over 17,000, most of them rooting for the NHL Stars, are getting a bit apprehensive with the score of 5-4 for the Soviets. From the faceoff, Beck in the corner. He cleared it ahead. It's out to center. Here's Landy McDonald firing it off the stick of Sittler, who is being tied up by Caboose, and Sittler taken into the boards rather heavily. They play for possession. Fluktoff ahead on the left side, and Caboose knocked it out. Now at the line, Savard ahead to Landy McDonald. A good move by McDonald. He shot it from a sharp angle wide. Here's Beck taking a shot. Up to Gainey. Gainey couldn't get a shot. He was turning around against Vasiliev. Soviets headman left, but they couldn't negotiate contact. Now Savard playing it in on the right side, and that is an offside.
There's the clock. Something is...
No, they switch ends.
So what clock's still going, though, Bob?
Still going.
I think something went wrong with the clock, and now they are trying to correct it. So we're going to have a bit of a delay. Gives me a chance to remind you that the Moscow 1980 Olympic coin program is presenting to a star in each game a silver coin set. The coins include themes of Moscow and Leningrad and are the official Olympic coin for the 1980 Games in Moscow. Now there's Aggie Kuklowitz, along with Dombrowski, as they sort this one out. Now they have it straightened out. 12:40 left here in the hockey game.
And it is 5-4 for the Soviets. The goalie cut, and Makarov, the forward line for the Soviets. We have Perrault, Dion, Lafleur for the Stars. There's a long pass for Lafleur. Fedorov going in, and that is an icing against the NHL.
I hear sounds like a boo almost when Lafleur is involved, but the fans have picked up a chant. Gee.
Pretty difficult booing that hockey player right there. 100% every night. He just does everything.
From the face-off. And LaPointe clearing it up on the left side. Babinov trying to pick it up. He couldn't. Perrault cleared it out over the line. Fedorov to Alexander Golikov. He shoots it in, and his brother Vladimir, along with Makarov, move in. But the Stars, Perrault took a Dion pass. Here's Perrault. He has that great speed. Perrault around the net, trying to center it, and Tretiak got his stick on it. The Soviets get clear of it. Golikov, Alexander shooting it into the Stars zone. Potson to Perrault. His pass is blocked. Babinov laying it back to his own line to Fedorov. Now at the line, Lafleur passing it out to Perrault. And the Soviets doing an excellent checking job here. They're staying right on top of the Stars. Soviets took a 1-goal lead. They moved in there. Makarov is after Perrault. Alexander Golikov tried to get it, but it's under Perrault.
This game between the NHL All-Stars and the Soviet national team is coming to you from New York.
Another weekend's coming, and are we gonna have the time of our lives?
Now's the time to relax with the beer of the country. Raise a glass of Canadian. Molson Canadian, it's your kind of beer.
Soviets, everybody up. Vilya-Letendorf and Pervukin on the point. Pervukin's shot is blocked. Skvortsov tried to get it. Now number 10, Vernikov, couldn't. Salming cleared it to the left side. Vernikov in behind the net. Here's Salming turning. Skvortsov was after him up on the left side to Gillies. He tipped it to center. 5-4 in the third period for the Soviets. Gillies racked his man up along the boards. It was Koven, number 9. He get up. And now he's skating over for the faceoff. 10:55. That's the time left in the third period. Remember, as Dick mentioned, if this game is tied, there is no question of any overtime in this game. But should the series be tied, let's say, in a victory apiece and the score tied at the end, the third period tomorrow, there would be overtime to decide the series victory. Now it's Salming back into his own zone, and it's icing against the Soviets.
Now he's going with the offensive players here, Bobby, although, funnily enough, Steve Shutt hasn't seen any action in this period. He had Lafleur with Dion and Perrault. He has got the Islanders line out there now.
Well, he needs goals, Dick, so obviously you go with your offensive players. But the NHL All-Stars just have to be careful now, a little careful. They're down 1 goal. There's still 10 minutes and 42 seconds to go, so just be careful. Don't try to force it too much, and then who knows what's going to happen. But they should be very careful right now.
It is Starikov around the net. He fires at Bossy, tipped it back in for Trossier. There's Gillies into the corner with Vasiliev. Trossier tried to get it, and the Soviets start out. Alexander Golikov. Now it's back back into the center ice area. There's Petrov. Over on the far side of Robinson, and it's called on the offside. Talking about the prospects of overtime in the series, if this game should end in a tie, then the game tomorrow, if the Soviets win it, or leading by 6 or 7 at the end of 3 periods, there's still overtime.
There's overtime tomorrow night, yes.
10-17 remaining in the third period. 5-4. Soviets in front. Tumanev. He's up front with Mikhailov and Petrov. There's Mikhailov along the boards, in behind the net. Savard, he tipped it up on the wing. Vasiliev knocked it back in. He jammed Savard in on the board. Mikhailov fell. Back to the point it goes to Starikov. Mikhailov couldn't pick it up behind the net, and Savard has it. Pass to center, stopped by Petrov. Tumanev coming in on that right side for the Soviets. Backhand shot. And it's Dryden covering up.
Tumanev didn't play the other night, but he's put on a pretty good show here today. You are watching the Series of the Century live from Madison Square Garden.
Hidden are the years of training, the bruised muscles, the good times given up. But when you have a dream to be the best, it's all worth it. Lotto Canada funds help make dreams come true by helping young athletes get better and better at their game. Lotto Canada, a Canadian institution dedicated to the development of fitness and amateur sport in Canada.
Now Clark goes to center, and the wings are Barber and Gainey. Shluptov, Balderas, and Kapustin for the Soviets. Fedorov on defense with Babinov. Puck is in the star zone. They jam in on the board. There's a pass. Gainey finally picking it up, feeding up on the left side. Babinov is back there against Gainey. Gainey trying to get it to pass it out. He falls. Here's Barber trying to center. Gainey, and he had difficulty against Kapustin. It's kept in by Clark. Clark takes a weak shot, blocked by Tretiak. Gainey trying to pass it out, and again he was checked very closely. It's cleared down the ice. Beck is back there after it, and it's icing against the Soviets.
Good job there, Bobby, by Barry Beck, because he was matched against Balderas, and I'll tell you, Big Barry turned it on as best he could, and he won the race.
I don't think Balderas was too interested in going in the corner with Barry Beck.
Right.
Beck can skate. He can skate. He's a big man. He skates. He moves very, very well. He's got a great shot. He's just a great all-around hockey player. There he is.
Now, the Dion Perreault-Lafleur combination out there again, along with Potvin and Lapointe.
Comes in front of the net. Vladimir Golikov shooting it to the corner. Alexander, his brother, in against Lapointe. Lafleur against Makarov on the board. It's loose. In behind the net. Up on the left side. Perreault to Potvin. He couldn't control it. Lapointe playing it to the line. Not out. Golikov cleared it in front. It's knocked away. Now Perreault. Ahead to Dion into the center ice area. Back to Perreault, to Soviet territory. Along the boards, they fight for it to the right of Tretiak, to the other side. Ravukin got clear of it down the ice. No icing on this. Dryden feeding it to Potvin on the other side. Now it's loose in behind the net to Lapointe. Lafleur is turning on the right wing at center. Dion, Lafleur, and Perreault as the Soviets get it, and it's called for a gloved pass.
Well, territorially in this period, the NHL has been doing just a little bit better, but nevertheless, they have been outshot exactly 2-1 by the Soviets to this part of the hockey game. 28-14, the margin. 7 minutes and 58 seconds remaining here in the third period.
Face off in the center ice area. And Dryden finds some sort of debris in front of his net, and the linesman Pavlich is picking it up, and that's holding up proceedings for the nonce, but it will be short-lived, I am sure. 7:58 left in the hockey game. 9 goals scored. Soviets. At one time, the Soviets were down 3-1, another time 4-2, but they had a tremendous resurgence late in the second period, scoring 2 quick goals to tie it. Here's shot over the line. He cleared it into the corner. Starikov failed to shoot it out. Vasiliev, the veteran, to the other side. It goes. Vernikov out over the line. Puts it on the brakes. Goes back to the line. And it's cleared in. Could be a delayed offside here against the Stars. But it's lugged out successfully by the Soviets. And Vasiliev cleared it ahead. And it's called on the offside.
This is live coverage of game number 2 for the Challenge Cup.
Buick continues turbocharging North America with the world's biggest choice of turbocharged cars. The 1979 Turbo Buicks. 4 cars, all powered by the remarkable turbocharged V6. To drive one is to want one. The Turbo Buicks. The Riviera S-Type. The Sabre Sport Coupe. Regal Sport Coupe. And the Century Coupe and Sedan. When it comes to turbocharging, nobody else even comes close.
Exactly 7.5 minutes to play in the third period, 5-4 for the Soviets. Dan Kelly is not with us today. He's working on CBS. He'll be back with us tomorrow night. Now there's Tobin coming out. He shoots it ahead for Vernikov on the other side. Skvortsov. It doesn't go over there. The Stars getting it. It's into the center ice area. Here's shot over the line. Checked by Vasiliev. They go to the corner. Around the net. Starikov reeling it, but not out. There's a shot by Sittler to the short side. Sittler is dumped by Starikov. They fight for possession in behind Tretiak and a face-off in deep Soviet territory.
Darryl Sittler back at center ice right there between Steve Shutt and Lanny McDonald. In the penalty department, the NHL Stars have received 3 penalties. The Soviets just 1. And when the Soviets player Kovin was off in the first period, Bossy scored on the power play. One of the Soviet goals, Mikhailov's goal in the second period, came on a Soviet power play.
Now it's Beck taking a shot, and a screen shot wide. Here's Beck again, trapping it at the point. In it goes behind the net. Fedorov clearing it on the right side. They jam in on the boards, and they get a whistle and a face-off again. In Soviet territory in Bobby Orr, the time has come for all the pressure that the Stars can put on the Soviets to take place.
Pull all the plugs out now, Dan. 6:41 to go. They're calling the play outside.
Well, obviously at fault was a member of the Stars. He was responsible for the stoppage in play. Petrov at center, Mikhailov and Tumanev on the wings. Now Babinov clears it on the right side into the center ice area. Beck stopped it. Soviets getting it again. Mikhailov, the veteran, coming in, swings to the other side, gives it to Petrov. He dropped it to Tumanev. Tumanev trying to center it. Tumanev in the corner, centered it. There's a shot by Petrov. And what a glorious scoring opportunity that was for the Soviets. I want to see that again to see whether Dryden got a piece of it as he kicked out that right leg. Now the puck into the center ice area. Tumanev is in over the line, but drop pass. There's the shot by Petrov. And he unleashes a booming blast, and Dryden made the save.
Well, this number 21, Boris Tumanov, didn't play the other night. He's taken over for the injured Arlamov today, and Bobby, he's put on quite a show. He can handle the puck.
He's having a whale of a game. He didn't play the other night. I guess they've been hiding him on it. They didn't want to have everyone out there Thursday night. But he's played a fine game.
And Dryden has faced 30 shots to date in the hockey game. One of the young fans of the 17,000 plus here for this afternoon game at Madison Square Garden.
Dion facing off against Schluchtop. The Stars, Potvin laying it on the board, backtracking his peril. He fell, gives it to Potvin. Long pass to Lafleur, he couldn't pick it up. Here's Kapustin. He has 2 goals for the Soviets. He swings that pass to the right side, and Balderas is back there for it. Balderas to Schluchtop. Schluchtop being hounded by Perro. He missed Dion with the pass. Here's Lafleur going in. Kapustin into the corner. Bobby knocked back in on the offside. LaFleur has been doing some bodybuilding in this series.
Well, he can hit. The Challenge Cup is coming to you live from New York. Square Garden in New York. 5-4, the Soviets leading Team NHL. And at the conclusion of our telecast, Rod Gilbert, the former Ranger star, will present today's Molson Awards to the top players on the two teams here today.
The Golikovs and Makarov, the line for the Soviets. Perel, LaFleur, and Dion still on there for the Stars. Starikov wins his way down on the left side. Rolled it gently to the Stars line. LaPointe knocking it up on the left side. Now it's back Potvin to Perel. Back to Potvin. He's an excellent rushing defenseman. A good move by Potvin. Potvin is in over the line. Takes the shot. It goes to far side. Here's LaFleur. Back to LaPointe. Perel getting it. He centered it in front. Vasiliev stopped it. Now into the corner, Starikov. LaPointe has it there. He ripped that shot off the corner boards, and there's LaFleur to the other side. He bumps along the boards with Makarov. Starikov has it. He shoots it ahead to Alexander Golikov. It's back to LaPointe at the Stars line to Potvin, who had that last beautiful rush for the Stars. Here is LaPointe clearing it in. Fedorov knocked it out to the line. Coming at the line, an excellent move by Makarov. He shoots it to the corner. The Soviet strategy, shoot it in there, move up, tie up the All-Stars. If they can, neutralize their speed to protect the 5-4 lead. That is the obvious strategy of the Soviets. Now the puck in the center ice area. Clark couldn't get anywhere. Here's Potvin at the line. He collided with Gainey. Golikov. Over it goes. Skvortsov took a shot. Driving a big save. Soviets making changes when the play goes on. Face off to the right of Dryden. That was a quick shot by Skvortsov. He had just come out of the ice.
There it is. Good stop by Dryden. The whistle went right after that. I don't know why. Maybe gloved ahead, I guess. Well, all right. We'll stick with our sign maker. 3:44 left. Time definitely becoming a factor. And we'll keep our eye on Dryden as the minutes tick away here in the closing stages of this game.
And we have Koven along with Varnikov out there to join Skvortsov. There's a shot off the leg. Gainey can't clear it out. The Soviets with a weak shot by Varnikov. Skvortsov tried to center it. Salming clearing it to the left side. I had to go in among the spectators. 3:31 left in the third period. 5-4 USSR over the NHL.
Bobby, the shots directed at the goal, 11-8 in this period, favor the Soviets. But Team NHL has not had really any good belts at Tretiak in this third period. The shots aren't really on the target.
Babinov and Fedorov out of your picture. They are the defensemen for the Soviets, well in over the Stars line. Robinson up on the left side to Gainey. He has Clark and Barber with him. Three Stars. Here's Gainey turning on the jet. Gainey in over the line. Takes a shot. It rolls generously for the Stars off the body and dangerously by Tretiak. Face off. It was held against the boards with Gainey falling. Face off apparently now will be in the Soviet zone.
Well, this has been a Soviet-dominated game. The shots on goal 31-14, over 2-1. The shots directed toward the goal 50-25. I think that's 26 now with that Gainey shot right there. So it has been definitely a big afternoon and a big game for the team in the red sweaters.
Now the Stars, everybody up. Soviets get the draw. They shoot it down into Stars territory. Savard ripped it off the boards, but that was just giving it to Bilya Letanov, who fired it to the other side. It was cleared in. And back it comes into the center ice area. Gillies rolling it to the corner. Number 5 is Pervukin. Oh, he was belted. Now it's cleared on the left side. That was a solid check by Trottier. And it is a case of the Soviets now being called for icing, and that could militate against them if they start to shoot it down the ice, and the Stars get the chance for the face-off in the Soviet zone.
A lot of goals have been scored off the face-off, Danny, and a couple have been scored today off the face-off, so they're very important to start icing the puck. Big face-offs in the Soviet end.
Okay, Bobby. Bobby, has anybody asked you during this series, how are you enjoying retirement?
Well, I'm enjoying it. I realize I can no longer play, and I'm happy doing what I'm doing, but I'd much rather be out in the ice.
Enjoy it better this afternoon if the score was reversed.
Well, yeah, I'm getting a little depressed.
Now, into the corner. Here's Trottier, right in front of the goal. And Trottier came out before Trottier could properly cradle it to get the shot.
He couldn't see any daylight, Bobby, I'm sure, on that one, because Brian held on to the puck. Here's the chance. Oh, see, no chance. See?
No.
Blocked up there.
Blocked up.
Gillies down on his knees, the defenseman with him, and I guess Brian took a look, couldn't see the net.
Now here's Cochran shooting it. It's off the stick, over the glass, in behind Trottier.
Exactly 2.5 minutes left. Keep in mind with NHL rules applying that a timeout can be called. 30-second timeout.
2.5 minutes left. It's swept in by Salming. Pervukin lays it on the board. 5-4 the score. Well, the Soviets, there's a shot by Trottier, and he whistled it hard around the net. The angle was fairly sharp. Now it's cleared down the ice by Petrov, and it'll be a face-off again in deep Soviet territory. It surprises me that they are icing that puck.
Well, we had a good scoring chance. The NHL All-Stars had a good scoring chance off the last face-off, and hopefully we'll get another one right here.
Danny, that's the 5th time the Soviets have iced the puck in the 3rd period. But it's still 5-4. The Soviets ahead by 1. 2:07 as time becomes an even greater factor right now.
And it's Lafleur, Clark, Settler, Robinson, and Lapointe. They are all in over that Soviet line. Balderas, Lukov, and Kapushkin for the Soviets. It's cleared back to the point. LaPointe shoots it back. It's around the net to Vasiliev. Ahead. And Kapushkin lugged it into the center ice area. It's off his stick. LaPointe chops the pass over to Robinson, the big bird. Ahead for Clark. A bouncing puck knocked down by Vasiliev. He played it off the boards, out over the line, cleared in, offside, and 1 minute and 42 seconds left in the game.
Well, the players of the game have been announced. 3 of the Molson Awards. Vasiliev of the Soviets, Trottier of Team NHL, and Rod Gilbert will make the official presentation at the conclusion of the play here today. Now the 2 coaches as the wheels turn.
Just wondering if they take the goalie out and Kapushkin puts it in for a hat trick.
The problem with the ice, it hasn't been as big a problem in that regard, Bobby, as we thought. Maybe that was just something being thrown on the ice. Seems to have held up pretty well. People were a little concerned about it.
I'm a little surprised with the ice that it's held up like it has.
Face off outside the Soviet line. No change in that alignment for the Stars. The Soviets in over the line. Vasiliev, a shot that went off the glove of Dryden. Now the Soviets moving in there. Zlukov, Balderas. Now a long rink-wide pass up there to Clark. Clark ahead for Lafleur. Goes off Vasiliev. Lafleur upended by Vasiliev. And the crowd reacted on that one. Soviet rolling it into the center ice area. Now Settlers couldn't pick it up. Ahead, Shlukov on the right side. He's a big fellow. Shlukov getting it in front. Balderas was checked. Here's Sittler coming out over the line. 1 minute left. Lafleur at the line. He couldn't get over the line. Finally feeds it ahead. Dryden started out, but he went back. Now Peril coming in. He did not wait long enough. 47 seconds left. And Dryden in that familiar pose is 15 feet in front of the net.
Well, Scotty has motion to him. There you see Ken Dryden. Waiting for word from the coach of Team NHL. Scotty rather calm, cool, and collected externally right now as he sorts things out. And we do have a timeout called, I believe. Soviets have outshot Team NHL 10-5 in this third period. And somebody, they haven't made the announcement, I don't think, but I think we've got a timeout call. Hard to tell which team because they both went to the bench, but I'm sure it was Scotty Bowman. There is Tikhonov, the Soviet national coach, who continues to stand in front of his players in the players' bench area in the Soviet style, or certainly at least in his style. Well, there you see it, 47 seconds left and a lot of talking. What's happening? That's the Soviet bench. Puck into the Soviet zone.
Hockey. Reagan with Salming is cleared in, and Dryden goes to the bench. 6 attackers for the Stars. They pile into the corner, and they're going to get what they were looking for. That's right. Face-off in deep Soviet territory. This is going to be an exciting wind-up. And let's pick up the attackers out there, Dick, before I pass it over to you and Bobby. We have LaFleur, Gillies, Salming, Hoffman. We have Putke, and I guess in the far right wing, that has to be the guy who knows how to score, Mr. Bobby.
This is the right box, you're right. There's a lot of scoring power out there, and Bosky and Trottier did what they were supposed to do. Got a face-off in the Soviet end, and Trottier's not a bad face-off man either.
And now the Soviets defending for them. They have Bilyaletdinov out there, the goalie caught. Now goalie caught. Vladimir cleared it off puck and taking it down into the Star zone. That was a big play for the Soviets. Back it comes. Here's LaFleur. And he couldn't get anywhere against Bilyaletdinov, and it was cleared over the boards outside the Soviet line, and we're down to 26 seconds.
There's a two-line pass on the outside. Listen to the Soviet bench.
To Europe for a change. They can watch it at a reasonable hour at 8 o'clock Moscow time, starting here at 2 or 2:15. So they can watch the game and still go out for dinner or whatever they do over there. Bobby, you were over there.
Canadian
on Saturday night.
Team NHL net is still empty. Just about sit there, Danny.
So we have Dion, Carroll. It's out over the line. Robinson up on left side. He shoots it into Soviet territory. Dion against Verbuchen in the corner. They jam in there. And with 18 seconds, another big face-off. This time to the left of Tretiak.
This time, Bobby, they better control the puck.
Well, we had it off the face-off last time. I think it was Trottier, and he tried to pass it back to the point and roll off the end of his stick. But there comes Bobby Clark. Sure to be taking the draw. One of the greatest in the game at taking the draw.
And number 10, LaFleur is poised. There he is. If it comes back, he'll whip it. It's into the corner. Verbuchen playing it on the board. Petrov trying to get the play stopped. Verbuchen takes it to the corner, using up seconds, and that brings it down to a total of 9. So the Stars are getting the opportunities with these face-offs in Soviet territory, but the Soviets are not giving them an opportunity to get any good shots.
Dion taking over from Salming on the right side.
From the face-off, here's LaFleur, takes a shot off the board, Puffman, there's the shot, blocked by Tretiak. It's sent in a scramble in front, clear down the ice, wide, and the game is over. A great comeback by the Soviets, and on the play of the day, you'd have to say the Soviets were about a hockey club.
Well, the shots ended up 31-16, and they definitely outplayed the All-Stars today, but I'm sure the Stars will do a lot of thinking tonight, and tomorrow night it'll be a little different story.
Well, there is Tretiak, who got off to the very shaky start, but he was not tested all that severely throughout the game, especially in the latter stages. The shots on goal in the final period, 14-6 in favor of the Soviets, 31-15 overall. And when you hold Team NHL to 15 shots, you have played some hockey game, and that's exactly what the Soviet national team has done here in New York this afternoon, as the players from both teams on what some of the Soviet commentators have referred to as a friendly series. It's a little more than that, I am sure. The refereeing, let's establish this, was not a factor in today's game.
I thought he called a great game.
The play of the Soviets was a factor. So it's 5-4. It all boils down to tomorrow night. Live from New York, this is the Challenge Cup.
As you roll along, shine on, taking time to have some fun, shine on. This is your kind of country, it's your kind of life, shine, shine on. And now's the time for the beer, shining through just for the country. The beer for Canadian, both the Canadian, it's your kind of beer.
Make it happy times and smiling faces, holding hands in favorite places. Make it Buick. After all, life is to enjoy.
The new 1979 Buick Regal. Good looking, smooth riding, Buick comfortable, luxurious. V6 powered, turbocharged V6 in the Regal Sport Coupe.
After all, life is to enjoy.
There's really nothing quite like a Buick.
A 5-4 hockey game. The Soviet national team has beaten Team NHL. We have pretty well said it all throughout the broadcast, especially in the third period. But, Bobby, we know there are fine hockey players with a fine system, and we saw them at their best this afternoon.
Played very, very well, Dick. The Canadians, or the All-Stars, started off a little slow, and the Soviets were flying, but I would have to think that tomorrow night will be a different story. But the Soviets played a heck of a game. We can't take anything from them.
It was 4-2 for Team NHL at one point, but really that didn't indicate the play. And Tretiak was not sharp, and the NHL had taken advantage of it, but they couldn't take full advantage.
Well, I didn't think Tretiak could have been faulted on any of the goals, but then I feel that if we could have got some shots on him, or more shots, we ended up with 16 for the game. If we could have got more shots, I think we might have filled the net. But the Soviets, they were flying today, and we were a little flat, and that's the way it goes. You stop getting up for every game. The mental part of the game, I feel, is the toughest thing, and the guys just weren't prepared tonight, but I'm sure they'll be prepared tomorrow.
Bobby, the fact that Denny Potvin and Guy Lapointe were in the lineup, they had not played for quite a while, both of them injured. Do you think that made any kind of a difference? What do you think of their play?
Oh, no, I don't think putting a couple of guys in or taking a couple of guys out made any difference. It's just that the team, we weren't prepared tonight, and tomorrow I'm sure will be a different story, and Guy Lapointe hasn't skated in a while, and, you know, he's got to get a feel of things again, and I'm sure he'll be flying tomorrow night, as will Dennis Potvin.
Oh, I'm going right down to it tomorrow. Isn't that 72 all over again?
It's going to be a tough night. I'm up here trying not to be a fan, and it's tough.
Bobby is a fan. Let's go downstairs now to the Molson Trophy presentation.
Valerie, congratulations. Ça me fait réellement plaisir de te présenter ce bel honneur pour ton jeu défensif. Good luck. This award is because you played such a tremendous game offensively, and good luck for tomorrow, and keep going. You're strong. You were a threat all night.
We'll need it.
So there you have it. Rod Gilbert, the former New York Ranger great, presenting the awards, the Challenge Cup awards, the Molson trophies to the two outstanding players, Vasiliev and young Brian Trottier of Team NHL. So the Soviets win it. The series is all tied up, 5-4. Final score today from Madison Square Garden. We'll be on the air tomorrow night, and as Bobby said, it's 1972 all over again. This is what a lot of people thought would happen. I would have to think that most of the predictions that I heard prior to this series was the fact that it would go the distance, and most people, hesitatingly perhaps, chose the NHL, but they said they would beat them 2-1. Well, if they are going to beat them, they are going to have to do it here tomorrow night. You wonder now if Scotty Bowman is going to make any changes. Will he put Nilsson and Hedberg back in the lineup? Will he make any alterations? He went with 6 defensemen today as opposed to 4 in the opening game on Thursday night. And they won that game, the 4 defensemen. They called them the Fantastic Four in the press here in New York when it was all over. Today he added 2 more, Potvin and Lapointe. So what will he do tomorrow night? Will he stick to the defensive type of play that Bowman likes to play, the kind that won the Stanley Cup for the Montreal Canadiens the past 3 years? Or will he throw people like Nilsson and Hedberg at the Soviets, look for some fresh legs, and try to pour the offense on? Time will tell. Anyway, full credit to the Soviets today. They were clear-cut winners. 5-4 was the final score. And now down to Dave Hodge in our studio.
Howie Meeker, we learn something new every time we see the Soviets, and I think the one thing that we found in this series is that players that we hadn't heard too much about, such as the Golikov brothers, are every bit as good as the supposed stars. Certainly, the Golikovs have been far better than Helmut Balderas, who was the player that we were watching, and it's Vladimir Golikov who scores the winning goal in the third period. A great play as it developed out of the Soviet end, a 2-on-1 break, and it took a rebound to put the Soviets in front.
Well, let's Team Canada, Team NHL, throw it in here and just watch the Soviet defenseman retrieve it. Now, the top of your screen, he just shovels it to the winger along the boards, who throws a pass that, ooh, you should never make. But when they work, look at this. He just takes the puck and throws it right by the NHL player, right on the Golikov stick, and now it's 2-on-1. They try to beat you this way. The second they get the puck, they go on offense no matter where it is, deep in their own zone. That's just as good as anywhere in the rink. Sometimes it hurts you, but they get so many 2-on-1 or fellas home free. Incidentally, that was the only effort that they'd been able to catch Team NHL sleeping.
Well, the NHL club really didn't have a scoring chance after Larry Robinson made it 4-2, and I think the real concern for Scotty Bowman will be that if they play this way again tomorrow night, they're not going to get 4 goals. They were fortunate to be ahead at all, probably, and certainly to have 4 behind Tretiak, but after that, really not a good chance to beat him.
Dave, they've done everything, made all the adjustments, all the refinements they had to do to play the game as well as Canadians. They shot the puck in, first man took the man, second man went for the puck, they flooded the zones. The one key move they had to make is free one defenseman, 1 point man, to come back into their end and help control the play, and this is what they did. The second that they went ahead 5-4, instead of 2 point men out there giving our offense all kinds of room to maneuver, they took it away from us. They come back in. I don't know. They play it pretty smart.
Did you notice almost no shots from the point by the NHL? You have Robinson, and Potvin was in the lineup today, and Guy Lapointe, people who can become an offensive threat if given the opportunity, but there weren't any shots from the point, and certainly none that were getting to Tretiak.
Well, I think Scotty Bowman had said, hey, fellas, no sense throwing it to the point. The point men stay on the blue line because you're going to draw 2 Soviet checkers out. That gives 3-on-3. We stand a chance of getting something, so they're not playing the point. Now they have an opportunity to pass it right through the center to the far point man because they're flooding again on defense the side where the puck is. And I think you'll see tomorrow that we'll dump some from the corners out to that freed person.
We're going to see a great game tomorrow is what we're going to see. It's, I think, what everybody expected. A very close series and one that would not be decided until Sunday night. That is the story. In this game, as you've heard, the NHL was up on 2 occasions by 2 goals, at 3-1 and at 4-2. It was Larry Robinson's great effort to put them up 4-2. But then the 2 quick goals by the Soviets near the end of the second period, the winning goal early in the third period, and the Soviet Union wins it by a score of 5-4. 1 victory for each team. And the climactic game will be tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. The Challenge Cup will be decided. See you then. So long from New York. Game 2 of the Series of the Century has been brought to you by your Chevrolet Oldsmobile and Chevrolet truck dealers. And by your Pontiac Buick GMC truck dealers across Canada. And by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786. This telecast has been produced for the CBC by Canadian Sports Network in association with Harcom Consultants Limited. It is protected by copyright and is intended solely for the entertainment of the viewing audience. Any rebroadcast or reproduction of any kind, in whole or in part, without the express written consent of Canadian Sports Network and Harcom Consultants Limited is prohibited. The Challenge Cup will be decided tomorrow night, starting time 8 o'clock. The NHL All-Stars versus the Soviet Union. Be with us from New York.
This is CBC.